Yahushua's the power, yeah. I'm chilling up in the kingdom, chilling with Yahushua and all the brothers and the sisters, cooling out.
Shalom, Israel.
Shalom.
And welcome back. You made it. Another Sabbath class, another Sabbath day. You know, like, thank you for joining us today, those of you in class and those of you online. We're here at the Houston camp at 231 FM 1092, Stafford, Texas 77477. Class times are the same as always, same bad time, same bad schedule. Also, we have another location in San Antonio. The class is getting ready to start too. We have another location out in Virginia, 2610 Granby Street. Their class days are Tuesday, Thursday, Fridays. Rochester, the new school out there. Brother Zion, they got it popping. Brothers being diligent in all arenas. They're at 1600 Lau Ave, Suite 1A. And their class days are the same as Virginia's. We have the Blog Talk Radio. That's blogtalkradio.com/Mashaba every Tuesday and Thursday, 10 a.m. Lots of good lessons, good teachers. I love the brothers that do it. I love all the brothers. Also, we have other YouTube channels. You know, if you're on this one, just actually click on the actual channel part, and if you're at the top, you'll see these other links for our other YouTube channels. So check that out if you haven't already. We just finished. We celebrated Purim. It was nice. You know, had some good food. Had some gift exchange. Kids got stuff. Adults got stuff. My guy got some smexy boots.
That's it, Smexy.
You know.
Sexy Mexican?
That's gonna be the name that's decaled onto his boots. Yeah, looking real. Antonio Banderas.
You have the scripture on boots like you have the scriptures on your glasses.
Oh, nice. That'd be dope. That'd be really dope. So yeah, everybody had a good time, had fun, ate, listened to some music, exchanged gifts. You know, celebrated the day. But the Super Bowl of all holy days is coming up. Passover. April 17th is when we'll be celebrating, getting together. So let's get it. If anybody has not gotten their garment money in, please. We need everybody's garment money in. 100% everybody's garment money. Not partial payments and stretching out for the next 12 months. We need it all in now.
Yeah, them income tax checks been hitting y'all's bank accounts. So go ahead and get your garment money in.
Yes.
Don't play games.
So if y'all can get that in, show some diligence and get it in. All right. Israelware, no longer accepting orders. But if you have the Friends Up subscription, don't fret, don't be afraid. Your shirts will come in. All right, Hebrew Academy is done in Virginia and Rochester every Monday. Here in Houston, we do it on Tuesdays. If you need to reach a priest or teacher, you can reach Priest Kazakia at 757-300-4047. Or you can reach Priest Quatazap at 303-557-8979. You can hit them with your questions. If we're live, just text them only during class. All right. We have a business suite ambiance. You know, keep you smelling good. Y'all know about sweet ambiance.
That's right.
You can smell us. Everyone should smell as good as we do. You know, we got saucy mixes. My brother Yashikar got a mix called salsa.
Salsa.
There it is. He said it better than I do.
You got salsa verde and salsa rojo, huh?
See, bring it out.
And pico de gallo.
And pico de gallo. So if you wanna try some of these intricate mixes that brothers and sisters have, you know, check out the business, sweet ambiance, get you smelling good, have you unique. something that no one else has, your personal fragrance. All right, if you want to drop any donations, you can put that in the Wells Fargo account. That info should be there on the screen. You can Cash App or Zelle. If you want to mail anything in, call Quatazab or text him, and he'll give you a good address where you can mail any items for any of the schools. All right, and that's it for the announcements.
On you, baby.
Grind time, baby.
All right. I'm not going to playing you well. You rush along. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Ba Shem Yahushai.
Ba Shem Yahushai.
Hawa'ah.
Hawa'ah.
Nathanawa.
Nathanawa.
Award. Zayawam.
The water.
Aman.
Amen.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, that gives to us the light this day. Thanks, so be it. The light represents wisdom, knowledge, understanding we attain through the scriptures. Matthew chapter 5, verse 16 says, "Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven."
Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Ba Shem Yahushai.
Ba Shem Yahushai.
Hawa'ah.
Hawa'ah.
Nathanawa. Raya.
Raya.
Na'ataka. The water. Aman.
Amen.
That's blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, that gives to us a sweet savor. Thanks, so be it. The frankincense and myrrh represents our prayers going up to the Most High as a sweet savor. Psalms 141, verse 2, "Let my prayers be set forth before thee as incense."
Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Ba Shem Yahushai.
Ba Shem Yahushai.
Hawa'ah.
Hawa'ah.
Nathanawa. Hashabah.
Hashabah.
Ba Shalom.
Ba Shalom.
The water.
Amen.
Aman.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, that gives to us the Sabbath in peace. Thanks, so be it.
This is Psalms 121 in Hebrew. Ainishah. Ayam Yam Yah. Al Aharyam. Na'ayah. Yabuwa'ah. Isaiah. Yabuwa'ah. Ma Yahweh. Sha'aisha. Shemayim. Wa'arataza. La'ah. Lanathan. Lamawat. Regalia. Yala'ah. Nawam. Shasha Wamar. Yasha'ala. Yahweh. Shemaria. Yahweh. Tazalia. How. Yum Yad. Hashamash. Yala'ah. Hakayah. Bayawum. Wala'ah. Halabana. Bayalala. Yahweh. Yashamaria. Makol. Rad. Yashamar. Napashia. Yahweh. Yashamar. Awalakya. Wa'wa'aya. Ma'aitan. Wa'ai. Aman.
Psalm chapter 121. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore.
Shema Yashala.
Yahweh
Allah Hayya Noah.
Yahweh
Chad. Shema Yashala. Yahweh Allah Hayya Noah. Chad. Shema Yashala. Yahweh Allah Hayya Noah. Chad.
Hear Israel. Yahweh our power. Yahweh is one.
The Lord's Prayer. Abanawa.
Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Haya, Shemka, Yahweh, Malak with Ka, Taba'ah, Ratazaka, Haya, Aisha, Ba'aratiza, Kawa, Haya, Mashamayim, Lathananaw, Lacham, Ko, Yawam, Wasalak Nawa, Kabawak Nawa, Kasalak Nawa, Kabawak Yinawa, Wala'ah, Tabiyanawa, Banasai One, Abo, Hawashai Nawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Amalakwa, Wa'ala, Wa'tapa Ra, Wa'awalamyam, Aman.
Matthew chapter 6, verse 9. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Asherah, Matazawa.
The Ten Commandments.
Number 1. La'ah, Yahaya, Laka, Alahayim, Aharim, Alpanya.
Thou shalt have no other powers before me.
La'ah, the Aisha, Laka, Pesol, Wala'ah, the Ibadam.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image.
La'ah, the Lakwak'at, Shem, Yahweh, Bashawa.
Thou shalt not take the name of Yahweh in vain.
Zakar, Hayawam, Hashabat, Lakwadashwa.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Kabad, Abaka, Wa'amaka.
Honor thy father and thy mother.
La'ah, the Ratazak.
Thou shalt not murder.
La'ah, Tana'ah.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
La'ah, Tagana.
Thou shalt not steal.
La'ah, Ta'ina, Shakur.
Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
La'ah, Takamad, Ko, Asherah, Lara'ayka.
Thou shalt not covet anything that is thy neighbor's.
Ba'ashem Yahushai, the water, Tamya, Aman.
The S.O.W needs to be seated.
We are in Leviticus. We are starting off in Leviticus chapter 6. Who was here last class? McGunn. Give us a recap.
Last week we went over the different offerings that you had to do. The meat offering, the peace offering, the trespass offerings, the offerings that the rulers had to do, the offerings that the priests had to do when the congregation said. Just the different nuances of those.
Kind. Yeah, so we're gonna be picking up in chapter 6, and it's gonna go into the different types of sacrifices still, but it's gonna be a little different. Other different sacrifices and offerings we had to make. It's called the first reader.
Shabbat Shah, Yahawada, Ban Yasharala.
I'm on one Izar, Shabbat Shah, Yahawada, Ban Yashala. Middle Israel, Hamadi. Barak.
Yahawah Hashem Yahushua Brakatham.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatah.
Yeah, you take. Yeah, you take. Me and Ivy.
Guy's killing me with these boots. I love it.
They look good.
They do.
I'm gonna give you some sombrero. So
Sombrero.
when I go see speaking, have it like hanging in the back.
Read.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, look at this guy.
Look at this
Like a
bandolero.
mariachi.
Look at this bandolero.
Yeah.
All right, Israel. Shalom, shalom.
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 Leviticus chapter 6, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, If a soul sin and committeth the trespass against the Lord, and lie unto his neighbor in that which was delivered him to keep, or in fellowship, or in a thing taken away by violence, or have deceived his neighbor, or have found that which was lost, and lied concerning it, and sweareth falsely, in any of all these that a man doeth, sinning therein, then it shall be, because he hath sinned and is guilty, that he shall restore that which he took violently away, or the thing which he hath deceitfully gotten, or that which was delivered him to keep, or the lost thing which he found.
So, the scriptures is going over, you know, if you did someone wrong, right? You're supposed to restore back to them how you wronged them. Now, when you think about this society right now, when you think about how America is set up, the only person that gets restored back is the ones that are on top. It's like in Ecclesiasticus where it says like the poor man was wrong, but he has to entreat. And that's us nowadays. The rich gets richer, the poor gets poorer. When we bump arms with someone in the street, we got to be, oh, I'm sorry, sir. Or what? You're going to be in a bad situation. Police is going to get called on you. We got to tiptoe around these people. If you want to be like some brother that's moving around without wisdom, you know, you're going to be the one that's fighting with the police officer, saying you know your rights. You don't have to roll down your window. You don't have to get out the car. And then you just get shot in the car. Same difference. Get shot in the car, shot out of the car. But if you look at the way Esau is done, all these so-called Christians, they're not doing this right here. Nobody is trying to restore back to us what was taken from us violently, or the deceit that they have done to us. Scripture says, "Love your neighbor." You know, one of the greatest parts of how Yahweh Shai said that this is the most honor the Most High above all, and love your neighbor as yourself. Because if you're loving your neighbor as yourself, then you're not doing any harm to him. You want the same for him as you want for yourself. So you wouldn't lie, cheat, steal, or hurt yourself. That's why these different nuances of the law are very important, because the law of loving your neighbor as yourself everything else falls in line with that. Because you're not going to lie, you're not going to cheat, you're not going to steal from them, you're not going to commit adultery because you don't want your neighbor sleeping with your wife. There's all these different things that the law goes into detail about, but it is all summed up in loving your neighbor as yourself. So when we're looking at these scriptures, you have to continue to consider what the Most High was trying to build in us. He was trying to build camaraderie. He was trying to build a sense of unity, a sense of love for one another. I have to read on.
Verse 5. For all that about which he has sworn falsely, he shall even restore it in the principle, and shall add the fifth part more thereto, and give it unto him to whom it appertaineth in the day of his trespass offering.
Yeah, you're supposed to give back a little extra. Man, you get caught up doing something wrong. Hey, dang, you know what? I'm sorry. It's not just I'm sorry and I give you exactly what I took from you. It's sorry and I'm going to give you extra. With interest. I'm going to give you something extra to let you know that, hey, I really felt bad about what I did. I shouldn't have done that to begin with. Let me restore to you what you had plus more. Read on.
Verse 6. And he shall bring his trespass offering unto the Lord, a ram without blemish out of the flock, with thy estimation, for a trespass offering unto the priest. And the priest shall make an atonement for him before the Lord, and it shall be forgiven him for anything of all that he had done in trespassing therein. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Command Aaron and his sons, saying, This is the law of the burnt offering. It is the burnt offering, because of the burning upon the altar all night unto the morning. And the fire of the altar shall be burning in it. And the priest shall put on his linen garment, and his linen breeches shall be put upon his flesh, and take up the ashes which the fire hath consumed with the burnt offering on the altar. And he shall put them beside the altar. And he shall put off his garments, and put on other garments, and carry forth the ashes without the camp unto a clean place. And the fire upon the altar shall be burning in it. It shall not be put out. And the priest shall burn wood on it every morning, and lay the burnt offering in order upon it. And he shall burn thereon the fat of the peace offerings. The fire shall ever be burning upon the altar. It shall never go out.
What verse you at?
Verse 16, verse 14. And this is the law.
Real quick. Real quick. If you shall put. No, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Verse 14. Leviticus chapter 6, verse 14. And this is the law of the meat offering. The sons of Aaron shall offer it before the Lord, before the altar. And he shall take of it his handful of the flour of the meat offering, and of the oil thereof, and all the frankincense which is upon the meat offering, and shall burn it upon the altar for a sweet savor, even the memorial of it unto the Lord. And the remainder thereof shall Aaron and his sons eat. With unleavened bread shall it be eaten in the holy place. In the court of the tabernacle of the congregation they shall eat it. It shall not be baked. It shall not be baken with leaven. I have given it unto them for a portion of my offerings made by fire. It is most holy. It is a sin offering, and as the trespass offering. All the males among the children of Aaron shall eat of it. It shall be a statute forever in your generations concerning the offerings of the Lord made by fire. Every one that toucheth them shall be holy. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, This is the offering of Aaron and his sons, which they shall offer unto the Lord in the day when he is anointed. the 10th part of an ephah of fine flour for a meat offering perpetual, half of it in the morning and half thereof at night. In a pan it shall be made with oil, and when it is baking, thou shalt bring it in. And the baking pieces of meat offering shalt thou offer for a sweet savor unto the Lord. And
What does this sound like? Every time I love this one because I like to eat. It said in the pan it shall be made with oil, and when it is baking, you know, he cooking up some chicken in the skillet, huh?
some fried food.
Some fried food. Go ahead.
Verse 22. And the priest of his sons, as anointed in his stead, shall offer it. It is a statute forever unto the Lord. It shall be wholly burnt.
Okay. Oh, so what I was saying earlier, in the chapter, we were talking about the trespass against your neighbor. And what I was referencing was, if someone could grab it for me. It's Ecclesiasticus chapter 13 and verse 3. Go ahead.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 13, verse 3. The rich man hath done wrong.
So, I was bringing this out in the sense of here in America, the so-called white men are the ones that are rich. Actually, every other nation are the ones that are rich.
Come on.
Through our fall, they became rich. That's what the scriptures say, right?
That's right.
So, when they're wrong, read on.
And yet he threateneth with all. The poor is wrong.
Look, think about all these Karens. There's plenty of videos of all these Karens. You be the wrong shade of brown in the wrong neighborhood, and you got a Karen on your back. And you didn't do nothing wrong. And they feel like they're wrong because you're just around, just because you exist. It says the rich man is wrong, but yet he threatened it with all. Think about it. He's the one that did wrong. The rich man is the one that did wrong. You didn't do nothing wrong. When the so-called, I was talking to a brother the other day, because we were talking about history and the Mayflower and the other ships that's supposed to have came over here.
Good ship, Jesus.
All of that. So I was like, oh yeah, you talking about the Pilgrims? He was like, no, they're not Pilgrims. He said, me and you were Pilgrims. They were pillagers.
Ooh.
Wow.
God.
Ooh.
I like that.
He said they were pillagers. They didn't come here to America or to this land that's now called America to be peaceful. They came to conquer. They came to conquer, kill, steal, and destroy. And that's what they did. They've wronged us.
That's right.
They wronged us, but yet they threaten us like we wronged them. Anytime I think back to high school with all the teachings of the Pilgrims and the Indians, you know, getting together and having Thanksgiving and all this madness, they did drop little nuggets that I do remember in high school. They said that the Pilgrims were not very clean and that they got the Indians sick. But shoot, that was germ warfare. They got them sick to weaken them, and then they started to take us out.
Yep.
It wasn't just a straight up head to head fight. You at your strength, me at my strength. Nah, they weakened them first. They weakened them. They starved the land because they were killing the animals. Oh, you had a question, Yoshikar?
That was worse than COVID.
Oh yeah, definitely worse than COVID. It was the original COVID. for that time. But it says the rich man had done wrong, but he's the one that's acting like he does the wrong, but he's acting like he's the one that got done wrong. How does that work? But you got to be the rich man to be like that. Think about these celebrities nowadays, and our people are included. There's a brother, a football player. He will come through the mall, and man, he's a celebrity. People just want to say hi, shake his hand, take pictures with him, everything friendly. But he's the most disgruntled, don't talk to me, don't look at me type guy.
Who, Andre Johnson?
I wasn't going to say his name, but yep, Andre Johnson. Andre Johnson he's words I'm not going to mention on camera. But
yeah,
he's a rich man. He can be like that. He can be like that. He can treat you like you did him wrong by asking for an autograph or a handshake or a picture. But let somebody that's common act like that. Or stiff-arm people the way some of these celebrities do. Bro, we'll be in a cop car real quick. Think about like how paparazzis be around. They doing their jobs. I get it. That might seem very aggravating to have people with cameras on your face all the time. But how many of these celebrities end up going to jail for stiff-arming somebody with a camera? But let us do something like that. Let us do anything that's out of the ordinary of a casual citizen. We're in trouble. We're going to get caught up. We're going to be in jail. We're going to be facing some kind of fines. Let us park in the wrong street. Let us park the wrong direction, because I got hit with that before. I was parked the wrong direction in the neighborhood. I got fines. Yeah, if you're not parking the way the traffic goes, then you out of line. But it says, the rich man has done wrong, and yet he threatened it. Read.
The poor is wrong, and he must entreat also.
So you get wrong, but you gotta apologize for being wrong.
Dang, that's crazy.
How does that work? Oh, boss, I'm sorry. My bad. I didn't mean to make you use your gas to come out here to check on me. Like whatever scenario you want to throw in mind, the person that's over, the person that's ruling, they're the ones that's doing us wrong, but yet we're the ones that got to continue to say, I'm sorry. That's like what Martin Luther King whole speech was like. You had a dream that we put hands and we saying, serve to our oppressor, peaceful protest, we're sorry. We want rights, but we're sorry that we want rights. We're sorry that, we're tired of being done wrong. Can we just be peaceful together and hold hands? Come on now. Very, very simp stuff. The poor is wrong, and he must entreat. It sucks. Think about that on the job. Think about it on the job. If you're trying to hold on to your job and not get fired, because here in Texas it's a right to work state, you can get fired for whatever if you're not in a union. There's not many unions out here. Texas, you look at someone wrong, you can get fired.
It's true.
So, let's say you got a manager that's a butthole. I'll say it like that for the camera's sake. And he looks at you weird, and you're like, you got to be the one that's shamefaced. Because if you look him right back in his eyes, you might lose your job.
Subordination.
It's subordination. I knew a brother. He got fired like that. He got fired on his job, and the reason why they said they fired him because he was suspicious. He got fired for being suspicious. Because he was the only black dude that worked at this job, and he got tired of being the poor man that had to ask for forgiveness, even though he was the one wrong. So when they look at him square in his eyes, he looked back like, what's your problem? He got fired. But yeah, that's what I was referencing, how Esau is with us and how they've been with us all these years throughout the generation. They don't follow the law. That's like I thought one man said one time. He says like they literally go through the whole Bible and say, what can I go against next? And they literally figure out every single law and do the opposite of it. Like this type of interest that you have to pay back if you get caught. Well, they get caught and we got to pay them interest. Oh, you've been embezzling. Oh, the United States government is using our money to fund some other war in another part of the world. But we got to pay interest on that. Yep. We ain't done. They're the ones doing us wrong. They're the ones that's raising our prices, and we got to continue to get taxed on it. They're raising the price of gas, the price of groceries. Everything is going up. Why? Gas is up, and gas moves everything around.
That's right.
You got your drivers. They gotta move your goods from one state to another.
Called fuel surcharge.
Surcharge. That's exactly what it is. That's why everything is going up. That's one of the reasons why everything is going up. But yeah, we gotta pay for all this extra stuff that's going on. It don't make sense. But I just wanted to bring that out, just showing like the righteousness of the law and how the Most High laid it out, but what Esau does to us. That was in your reading, right?
Concert.
Next reader. Elijah. Elijah Sabbath Reading, Yashikar, Ban Yashala, Men of Israel, Hamadim, Barak. Yahweh Shem Yahushua Brakatah. Yahweh Shem Yahushua Brakatah.
Leviticus chapter 6, verse 23. For every meat offering for the priest shall be wholly burnt. It shall not be eaten. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and to his sons, saying, This is the law of the sin offering.
So just remember, from 1 through 5, it goes into, from Leviticus chapter 1 through 5, it goes into the different, and it doesn't touch all the offerings. We talked about, I'm probably going to repeat what y'all already said. Burnt offering, sin offering, meat offering, right? But then there's still the drink offering, wave offering, heave offering. It doesn't go into those yet. But there was a law. You know why this is important? You know why understanding the sacrifices were important? Because it's going to help you to better understand the Sabbath. But what do I mean by that? Well, when you go into the Leviticus and it says, thou shalt not kindle a fire in your habitations on the Sabbath, people automatically say, oh, you're not supposed to kindle a fire at all, right? They automatically, you can't kindle a fire ever on the Sabbath. That's no fires. We don't cook anything on the Sabbath, right? But if you understand the law of the burnt offering, Leviticus chapter 6 and verse 13. first of all, you read Leviticus chapter 6 and 13. The fire shall ever be burning upon the altar. It shall never go out. So the burnt offering, fire, burnt 7 days per week. It never ever went out. One of the priest's duty, check this out. One of the priest's duty, go to Matthew's real quick. Go to Matthew's 12 real fast. Yep. Matthew. 12 and verse 5.
The book of Matthew, chapter 12, verse 5.
Read.
Or have you not read in the law?
So remember, this was when Yahushua was being challenged by the Pharisees. And they came to him like, why y'all walking through the corn and picking corn? So he's like, wait a minute. You didn't read about David? What he did with the showbread? Mm-hmm. You didn't read about the priests, how they what? Read.
How that on the Sabbath days.
So on the Sabbath days, read.
The priests.
Read.
In the temple profaned the Sabbath.
How did they profane the Sabbath in the temple? Listen to that word. Somebody look that word profane up. Think about it. What was the profane thing that they were doing? What profaned the Sabbath? Where Yahushua used that word. Profane. That's a strong word. Look that word up.
Profane.
Yeah.
To treat something sacred with abuse.
They abused the Sabbath? Ooh. The priests? So they were abusing the Sabbath. What else? Something, because the Sabbath is a sacred day, right? So you mean to tell me the holy priests of the Lord, Aaron and his sons, and all those men, they treated the Sabbath with what?
Abuse.
They abused it. What else?
Irreverence.
They had no reverence towards the Sabbath. Go ahead.
Contempt.
Contempt. Read.
Unworthy.
They were unworthy. Read.
Wrong.
Go ahead.
Vulgar.
They were vulgar towards the Sabbath by practicing the very things that needed to happen during the Sabbath. Like what? Wow. To keep that burnt offering going, guess what they had to go do, ladies and gentlemen? They had to go get wood. That's true. Carry it to the altar and lay the wood so that fire can burn daily.
Oh yeah, verse 12.
That's true.
Continue on fire.
Verse 12, we're at?
Leviticus 6 and 12.
Right, we're at, read, where are we at, 13? Yeah, read verse 12. Read Leviticus 6 and 12.
Leviticus chapter 6, verse 12.
Right ahead, go ahead.
And the fire upon the altar shall be burning in it.
Go ahead.
It shall not be put out.
Go ahead.
And the priest shall burn wood on it every morning.
Wait, every morning except for the Sabbath?
Every morning.
So just whenever they felt like it in the morning?
Every morning.
Go ahead.
And lay the burnt offering in order upon it.
So not only do they have to lift the firewood and put the firewood under the altar, they had to walk up a 6-foot ramp. Because remember, the altar was 6 feet high.
Right.
Right? They had to walk up a 6 feet ramp and get animal parts and order them in an arrangement. The edible foods on one side, the non-edibles on the other. The burnt offering was the head, the liver, the gall, the feet, the skin, all the stuff we didn't eat. And they had to arrange it for it to sit there and burn. Then they had to go down, grab the next animal, walk up the ramp. Work.
That's tough.
Right?
That's tough. A refrigerator that got to go up an incline is tough.
God. But they carrying animals up by hand. Right? But, before you even get the different parts, guess what you got to do? You got to cut that animal into pieces. Whoa, so they profaned the Sabbath by keeping the Sabbath? Well, no, they didn't profane the Sabbath. That's the thing. They didn't have an irreverence for the Sabbath or a wrong or a contempt toward the Sabbath. That wouldn't make sense. Mm-hmm. You're going to do the thing that I want you to do, but you're doing it in contempt? Or because I want you to do it on this day, it's a contempt to you? Would that even make sense? Doesn't make sense, right? But see, the reason why you go through these laws of the burnt offerings and the meat offerings and all these different offerings, then it helps you to understand more the Sabbath, more about it. If we had a fire that burned 7 days a week, who the hell was keeping that wood going? Somebody was working that fire. The fire didn't just keep itself going. Somebody had to go lift wood. So the man gathering sticks for what? What was he gathering sticks for? For fire. It wasn't about fire because we burn fire 7 days a week. It was about him being by himself, gathering sticks for his own habitation. He wasn't gathering sticks for the altar. That was already gathered. We already had that set up. But somebody had to carry the sticks from one place and put them underneath that altar and make sure. You ever anybody ever built a fire out of wood? It takes work. You literally gotta work that fire, right? To keep that, you gotta shuffle wood around. The hotter wood you gotta move, and then you gotta make sure the fire is even. Remember, the altar was how big? It was 6 feet tall, 6 feet wide, and it was about 10 feet long. So that wasn't no small little chimney fire that you got in your house. Imagine a 10-foot long fire, a 6 foot wide fire. How much wood was being burned? A lot of wood. And the bigger the fire, the more the wood to keep it going. So again, the don't work on the Sabbath cats. They don't get it because they skip over little things like the things that are boring, like the offering. Like why we gotta read about offerings? We don't do that no more. Well, because there's a lot more intricacies than just knowing what we offered, how consistently we offered, and in what situations. But it helps to understand one thing, helps to edify on another thing. You see that if you don't see that the fire burns 7 days a week, then you'll lose you'll lose part of the understanding of the Sabbath anyway. You'll get caught up in the cold. We ate cold food all the time. They don't say that. They don't say that we ate cold food on the Sabbath. They don't say we ate sandwiches, right? On the Sabbath, everything was cold. Think about it. Even if you prepped your food the day before, you don't eat cold meat. We ate cold quail. Who the hell's gonna do that? Who's gonna eat cold chicken? Nobody. I mean, me. I'll eat it right out the fridge. Right? My rib be like, what are you doing? Room temperature, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But for the majority, we didn't do that. We kept our food warmed and nice, right? So the things that we're reading are important to pay attention to because you'll pick up on other things down the line. Y'all get it? Yeah. Where we at? Read.
Verse 25. Spake unto Aaron and to his sons, saying, This is the law of the sin offering. In the place where the burnt offering is killed, shall the sin offering be killed before the Lord. It is most holy. The priest that offereth it for sin shall eat it. In the holy place shall it be eaten. In the court of the tabernacle of the congregation. Whatsoever shall touch the flesh thereof shall be holy. And when there is sprinkled of the blood thereof upon any garment, thou shalt wash that whereon it was sprinkled in the holy place. And the earthen vessel wherein it is soldered shall be broken. And if it be soldered in a brazen pot, it shall be both scoured and rinsed in water. And the males among the priests shall eat thereof. It is most holy. And no sin offering whereof any of the blood is brought into the tabernacle by the congregation. The reconcile with all in the holy place shall be eaten. It shall be burnt in the fire. Chapter 7, verse 1.
Any questions on chapter 6? What was the meat offering? First of all, did the meat offering even have meat in it?
No.
What was it? Come on, two things. What was it? What?
Flour, frankincense,
Right,
oil,
right.
and sweet spices.
It was just the frankincense oil and the flour. And not always the frankincense. That was the meat offering.
That's verse 15.
What was the burnt offering? What did that consist of? What? The fat? What else?
And like the intro.
Right, the inwards, the entrails, the liver, the gall, the bladder, right, the caul, all the things that we wouldn't eat. The heart, all those things that filtered blood and cleaned the animal and cleaned disease, we didn't eat those, right? In some cases, you put the head, the legs, right, and those things would just burn continually. So every sacrifice that was sacrificed, those parts went into the burnt offering and they burned. The rest of the animal, the rump, the shoulder, all the good little parts, right? What do we do with those? Well, you got your burnt offering, you got your meat offering, and you literally cooked the rest of that food, and then that was the parts that the priests ate, right? We're gonna talk about the drink offering, the wine, right? You literally had a quick little meal with the priests.
Yeah.
You see that? Wave offerings, shoulder offerings, those were things that were eaten. They didn't just burn on that altar all day. You see that? So there was a 24-hour barbecue.
It's always
Think about it. Think about this. The fire could never go out. That means 24 hours a day, somebody had to make sure that fire was going. That's why there were so many priests in the office. Because it wasn't on just one man. It was on a whole family or a whole tribe of Levites to keep that fire going. They were dedicated to the fire. So they were working on shift. Then you had a tribe of Levites that did what? They had to clean. They had to clean the altar and clean all the different things, right? Clean the inside of the temple, and clean up all that blood. You had there was a lot. We'll go through it, but there was families set up just for the curtains, right? For the deconstructing and the constructing of the tabernacle. When it was time to move, this family had the curtains. This family had the Ark of the Covenant. This family had that. This family had you in charge of the menorah, the snuff dishes, the candle holders, right? Different families in charge of different things. So it wasn't just one man, two men. It wasn't 3 Levites. There were thousands of Levites. All right, so where we at?
Leviticus chapter 7, verse 1. Likewise, this is the law of the trespass offering. It is most holy. In the place where they kill the burnt offering, shall they kill the trespass offering, and the blood thereof shall be sprinkled round about upon the altar. And he shall offer of it all the fat thereof, the rump and the fat that covereth the inwards, and the two kidneys, and the fat that is on them, which is by the flank and the caul, that is above the liver, with the kidneys. It shall he take away, and the priest shall burn them upon the altar for an offering made by fire unto the Lord. It is a trespass offering. Every male among the priests shall eat thereof. It shall be eaten in the holy place.
Right. So we we weren't vegetarians. Okay. It said that you sacrifice that animal and it was eaten. It said all the males. Right. What did it say? All the males of what?
The priests.
Right. They would eat that meat. So we weren't running around just eating plants. Cass was getting fluffy off meat. Remember, manna, When you go into the manna, that was meat. That was quail and coriander. Right? So we definitely ate meat. Go ahead.
It is most holy. As the sin offering is, so is the trespass offering. There is one law for them. The priest that maketh atonement therewith shall have it. And the priest that offereth any man's burnt offering, even the priest shall have to him the skin of the burnt offering, which he hath offered, and all the meat offering that is baken in the oven, and all that is dressed in the frying pan and in the pan, shall be the priest that offereth it. And every meat offering mingled with oil and dry shall all the sons of Aaron have, one as much as another. And this is the law of the sacrifice of peace offerings, which he shall offer unto the Lord. If he offer it for a thanksgiving, then he shall offer with the sacrifice of thanksgiving 11 cakes mingled with oil, and 11 wafers mingled with oil, and cakes mingled with oil, and of fine flour fried. Beside the cakes he shall offer for his offering leavened bread with the sacrifice of thanksgiving of his peace offering, and of it shall offer one out of the whole oblation for a heave offering unto the Lord. And it shall be the priest that sprinkleth the blood of the peace offering.
Man, get hungry just reading this.
Right?
This was one way that the Most High was providing
Levi.
for the Levites, for the priests. What's that?
When you go back in verse 9, it caught my attention that verse 9, it says, and all the meat offering that is baked in the oven, and all that is dressed in the frying pan. So you had two choices of meat, what you want, baked or frying.
Well, remember, the meat offering wasn't meat.
Right, okay.
Right. You had two ways how those cakes were going to be prepared. Yeah, you had baked, and then you had fried.
So you had your choice.
Yeah, you had your choice. And you fry something, it's going to taste different than if you bake something. If you want to get sloppy, you fry it. A little oil, a little grease on those fingers. Right? You baked it, you kept it a little bit more healthy.
I just have a question. I guess it's the wording of it. But in chapter 6, verse 29, and it says, all the males among the priests shall eat thereof, it is most holy. Aren't all the priests males? Or were these other males other than the priests?
Well, remember, at this time, the Most High didn't pull the Levites. You see that? He didn't pull the Levites out as the consecrated tribe to be the priesthood. He took all the firstborn males of all tribes. Remember? Where is it at? It's in, is it Numbers? No, is it Exodus where he said all that part of the matrix?
All that open.
All that open. You should know that scripture by heart.
Oh, because it was going to be my son's name?
God. Right? Watch. So what was happening was all the firstborn males were going to be the priesthood. Matrix. Exodus 13:12. Yep. Exodus 13:12. Read that.
Exodus chapter 13, verse 12. That thou shalt set apart unto the Lord all that openeth the matrix, and every firstling that cometh of a beast,
Right.
which thou hast.
Right.
The male shall be the Lord.
You see that? The male shall be the Lord. So all the firstborn males were going to be the Lord's. Now, the Most High, remember, what is the Most High looking at? Well, he's looking at, man, they're agreeing that they're going to do this, right? They're going to give up their firstborns, but are they going to really do it? So now what does he come back and do? Go to Numbers.
Makes things a little easier.
He made it a little bit easier for us to be able to uphold. Go to Numbers 3 and 12. And what he did, he just took Levi instead of the males of all the tribes. He made it real easy and said, you know what? I'm just going to take Levi. The males of Levi. Raj, read Numbers 3 and 12.
Numbers chapter 3, verse 12.
Go ahead.
And I, behold, I have taken the Levites from among the children of Israel.
Right.
Instead of all the firstborn.
See, I've taken the Levites instead of all the firstborn, but that hadn't happened yet at this time because we're still just in Leviticus. Numbers comes after. Go ahead.
That openeth the matrix.
Go ahead.
Among the children of Israel.
Right.
Therefore, the Levites shall be mine.
Right. Go ahead.
Because all the firstborn are mine.
Right.
For on the day that I smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt,
right,
I hallowed unto me all the firstborn in Israel.
Go ahead.
Both man and beast.
Right.
Mine shall they be.
Right.
I am the Lord.
Right. So then he goes through and talks about numbering Levi age and starts to set things up that way with the Levitical priesthood. But up until what we're reading now, all the firstborn males were going to be the priesthood, right? So when he says in Leviticus, all the males among the priests shall eat thereof, right? Well, remember the priesthood wasn't the Levites; it was just the firstborn males. So all the males amongst the priests, all the males among the priests shall eat thereof. So I know it's worded like, wait a minute, why would he say males? Were women priests too? No, it was just that the priesthood wasn't set up among just the Levites. Y'all see that?
Yeah.
Does it make sense? Okay.
What was that scripture in Exodus?
3 and 12. No. I'm sorry. It wasn't Exodus 3 and 12. It was Exodus what? 13 and 12. And then Numbers 3 and 12 to backdoor that. Yeah. Yeah, you can do Exodus 3 and 12 to Exodus 3:15. Where do we?
Next reader.
Really? Oh, we just gonna flow through this one. You guys trying to street speak all day. Read.
Magana war, Sabbath Shah, Yahweh, Banya Shala, Men of Israel, Amani, Barak.
Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah Brakatham.
Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah Brakatham.
Leviticus chapter 7, verse 15. And the flesh of the sacrifice of his peace offering for thanksgiving shall be eaten the same day that it is offered. He shall not leave any of it until the morning. But if the sacrifice of his offering be a vow, or voluntary offering, it shall be eaten the same day that he offereth his sacrifice. And on the morrow also the remainder of it shall be eaten. Verse 17. But the remainder of the flesh of the sacrifice on the third day shall be burnt with fire. And if any of the flesh of the sacrifice of his peace offerings be eaten at all on the third day, it shall not be accepted. Neither shall it be imputed unto him that he offered it. It shall be an abomination, and the soul that eateth of it shall bear his iniquity.
Yeah, so remember, this is law. These are the laws of these different sacrifices. So you couldn't come back 3 days later talking about let me eat this sacrifice when the law says not to eat it. It'd be an abomination. He said you would bear that iniquity. So if you got sick after eating that, that's on you. Right? You got stomach pains and diarrhea and whatever the case may be comes after eating 3-4 day old meat. That was on you. You see that? But the Most High said it was an abomination. Remember, these were laws that he was laying down for these different sacrifices. Go ahead.
Verse 19. And the flesh that toucheth any unclean thing shall not be eaten. It shall be burnt with fire, and as for the flesh, all that be clean shall eat thereof. But the soul that eateth of the flesh of the sacrifice of peace offerings, that pertaineth unto the Most High, having his uncleanness upon him, even that soul shall be cut off from his people. Moreover, the soul that shall touch any unclean thing, as the uncleanness of men, or any unclean beast, or any abominable unclean thing, and eat of the flesh of the sacrifice of peace offerings, which pertain unto the Most High, even that soul shall be cut off from his people. Verse 22. And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, Ye shall eat no manner of fat of ox, or of sheep, or of goat, and the fat of the beast that dieth of itself, and the fat of that which is torn with beasts, may be used in any other use, but ye shall in no wise eat of it.
Right, you see that? So an animal that died of itself, you weren't supposed to use or eat that. You could use the fat, but you couldn't eat it. Right? Oil lamps, what?
I have a question on verse 21.
Okay, go ahead.
We've heard through other doctrines that they say that Jesus Christ was a sinner, right? And they like to use verse 21 as the reason.
Okay.
Right? Can you expound on that? We obviously know that Yahweh Shai was not, because Scripture says that he wasn't. But,
right.
Correlating this to, what was this there?
Well, for one, it wasn't a sin to be unclean. Right? So that's wrong. I mean, I don't know if anybody's heard it, but you got there's camps out there talking about Christ was a sinner because he was unclean because he touched their bodies. It wasn't a sin to be unclean. You were just unclean, right? But what it's telling you is that you weren't supposed to partake in the ceremonial things when you were unclean, right? So remember, Yahweh Shai, he was a stickler for the law. He knew the law in and out, right? He knew how to adhere to the law, but still take care of what he had to take care of, right? So it doesn't say that because you were unclean or because you touched a dead body that you were a sinner. It doesn't say that. It's not a sin. Think about it. If a man lays with his wife and his seed of copulation leaves him, is that a sin? When a woman gives birth, is she now a sinner? A woman that's on her menstrual cycle, is she a sinner? No, they're just unclean. And there's steps that you take to ensure that uncleanness doesn't turn into some type of spreading disease, because it all has to do with blood and fluid, right? So a woman that's menstruating, why did we separate them for those 7 days away from just the general population? Well, because there was blood. There was blood, right? and everything that she dealt with would be considered unclean until those 7 days were over. You would know, okay, well, there's no real sickness here. This is just a menstrual cycle. You see that? Leprosy, 7 days, unclean. They would check you out every so often to see, okay, is it a spreading leprosy to your flesh? Right? Is it is it just a bump raised up, scabbed over, done with it? You see, so there was an examination. The 7 days allowed for any type of sickness to show itself either as a quick little, like again, menstrual cycle, or was it an actual sickness? Dead bodies. You touched a dead body, or you came near a dead body. What was up with that? Well, it's a dead body. As soon as somebody dies, disease and rot sets in immediately. It's not like because rigor mortis sets in 7 or 8 hours later that's when everything starts. As soon as that body shuts down, it starts to decay. Right? So everything that body is giving off after there's no life in it, it can be contamination. So when you came around a dead body and you were inhaling, breathing, burying that body or whatever, if that man or woman died, the scriptures tell you if they died inside of a tent and things were uncovered that were earthen, you would destroy the earthen pitcher. If it was a different material, you could just wash it out, right? But you would clean things before you just went and used it. You would throw out whatever water or whatever was in that pitcher. Because why? Things travel through the air. You got airborne disease, right? But it doesn't mean that you were a sinner because you were around these things. You just were now ceremonially unclean, where you couldn't participate in the ceremonial things. You wouldn't go to a feast day after you touched a dead body, or after you dealt with the dead, or after you lay with your woman, or whatever the case may be. You wouldn't just pop up to the feast day, right? But but this is the thing: you would be unclean until the even. So it would reset, and then boom, right? Certain uncleanness would last longer. A woman, we know 7 days on the menstrual. A woman that gives birth, the girl is 80 days, the boy is 40 days. It'd be 7 days of unclean, and then they got to go through the purification for those 33 days for the boy, and 73 days for the girl, right? Why? There's blood coming all out of this woman with this baby. So you're making sure that this time is allowing for any type of disease that's going to be in the body that comes out. There's a purification time period, right? This was like, it's like how they quarantine you now, right? They quarantine you, why? To make sure that you're not going to spread. Again, it wasn't a sin to be unclean. So whoever's saying that about Yahweh Shai, that's wrong. Because there's many scriptures that tell you Yahweh Shai, he was found without fault. He was found without sin, right? And guess what? He was touching cats with leprosy, right? He was touching cats that had all types of disease. He was pulling devils out of people. How much more unclean can you be?
Right. Oh, the woman that was bleeding.
The woman that was bleeding, that touched his garment. We're going to actually read about that today. She touched the hem of his garment. He would have been considered unclean, but not a sinner because she touched him. You see that? All he had to do was go through, like the scriptures say, you wash that garment, you wash your flesh, you keep it moving. You see that? So anybody that's trying to use this to say that Christ was a sinner is an idiot. Sorry. You just are. Bring it out. You're a fool if they're saying that. And guess what? The same ones that said that, they had to rescind all those comments and delete all that little Facebook and YouTube posts that they put up talking that, because it doesn't make sense. Yeah, they had to delete that. They had to delete that because think about when you go through the law, it don't say anything about being unclean as a sin. It just said you were unclean to the evening, right? Now, if you didn't do now think about this though. If you didn't, there were steps that you had to take. Wash whatever your seat of copulation touched, right? You would clean that, right? You would clean the clothes, your body, your flesh. think about if you kept things unclean, what would happen? You're going to bear that iniquity. So you're going to get checked anyway, right? You're going to bear that iniquity of being unclean as far as letting things stay unclean around you. It's like if a person got a dirty house, what's going to happen to them? They're going to constantly be sick, right? And they're not going to know where the sickness is coming from. But if you got a filthy home and you don't vacuum and you don't wipe walls, and as soon as you walk in and breathe, you're like, oh yeah, it's dirty in here. But you're breathing all that in. That's going to mess with your respiratory. That's, you touch something, and then you touch your face, and you touch something, you touch somebody else. It's just going to spread that germ, right? And that's a check for the being unclean and not doing what the scriptures say, which is wash things, wipe things down. We did it with the altar. We sprinkled all that blood, then we came back and did what? Wiped it down.
Sopped it all up.
Yeah. That whole confection of calamus and frankincense, myrrh, cinnamon, all that was to purify the altar and purify the temple and clean it. You see that? So we kept things clean. After we did what we had to do, think about blood. The blood of an animal can't purify a damn thing. That altar, think about it. The tabernacle was unclean. It's blood. But you still have to go up in there and do what? Set up your prayers, talk to the priest, confess your sins, and that was supposed to cleanse you. Before we did a sacrifice, the horns of the altar, they took blood on the tips. So dirty blood on an altar that's supposed to signify me getting rid of my sin. But then what do we have to go back and do? Clean that altar up. The fire that was burning kept that altar purified.
That's crazy.
You see that?
Yeah.
So, was it a sin when the priests got blood all over them? Or got blood on the floor? Or got blood over when and the blood just went? Nah, it wouldn't make no sense. But the priests were always unclean. Think about it. They were always around blood. So the ones that were doing the sacrifice at that time, or even that person, because remember, you went and killed your own animal in front of the priest. So when you went and did a sin offering and you killed your animal, you were considered unclean. You're dealing with blood and death, dead body, disease. So you have to go home and do what? Wash yourself up, clean your clothes, and be unclean to the even. You see that? But it wasn't a sin for you to do an offering. It wouldn't make sense. You see that? So, yeah. Whoever, I mean, I know who said that. I don't want to say who said that. But, bro, the same ones that said that said a lot of weird things that the scriptures don't say. You know what I mean? So, for those in YouTube land, itching ears, you got to be careful, man. Yeah, because them itching ears, you want to hear every teacher in the castle had you thinking that Christ was a sinner, where the Bible doesn't say that he was a sinner. You know, he was unclean in certain instances because he came around dead bodies. He came around sick people, right? But if he was concerned about being unclean, nobody would have been healed. Y'all get that?
So true.
So to get the healing, he had to get dirty. Right? He had to go be around the sick. I think, watch, we're not going to read it, but go to math. Let me see that paper. Go to Matthew 9 real quick and read. Go to Matthew 9. And you're going to read verse. I mean, think about a physician. When you walk into a physician's office and you coughing, dog, I'm sick. And you sitting there breathing in all your sickness. Is he not contaminated also? Yeah. Right? Now, Matthew 9, read 10.
Book of Matthew, chapter 9, verse 10.
Right?
And it came to pass, as Yahushua sat at meat in the house,
Right?
behold, Many publicans and sinners came and sat down with him.
Many sick people came and sat with him. Literally, publicans and sinners, right? Those were the criminal element, right? The underbelly of the city. Right? They came and they sat with him to eat. So he's sitting amongst these people doing what? Well, he's absorbing their sicknesses. In what way? Well, criminals are going to talk about criminal things.
Yeah, that's true.
The publicans and sinners are going to talk about sinful things. So they're looking at Yahweh Shai like, wait a minute, you sitting around with these dudes, what you on? But see, Yahweh Shai wasn't absorbing their criminality and their publican ways and their sinner ways in a way of letting it leech onto him, and then he became that, right? But remember, the scriptures say that he took on what? He took on our infirmities, he took on our sorrows, right? But why? How was he able to take those things on and not be influenced or let his spirit be infiltrated? Well, because he was the filter. It's like, it's almost like your liver detoxifies the body, your blood, right? But is there a liver detox, truthfully? Like, does the liver really need to be cleaned? No, it's a self-cleaning tool. You see that? It's a self-cleaning organ. There's things you can give it to help it, but the liver doesn't need a liver. There's not a liver for your liver. Don't you get that? There's not a kidney for your kidneys. They are the detox. They're the filter. They know how to keep themselves clean while cleaning the rest of the body. That was Yahweh Shai. He was the liver of the people. He was the detox of the people. So he could be around the sick, detox them, and not become sick himself. Y'all get it? Right. So there was no sin for him to be around them. You see that? Would he be unclean as far as being around the publicans and sinners? No. But the dead bodies, when he was bringing, I think we're going to read about it in the same chapter. When he brought a woman back to life, she was dead. And he was like, no, she ain't dead. Don't worry. She just sleep. Right? And he brought her back to life. The man with the withered hand. Right? The man that was laying by the well, he was just laid out for 15, 20 years, just laying there. Couldn't even get up to get into the well to be healed. Yahweh Shai said, man, he got next to him, pick up your bed. You're healed. Right? He was coming around it said they brought thousands of people to him with all manner of sickness. Devils and demons, right, were on people, weighing them down. But he didn't let those things make him a sinner. Right? So read on, watch, read on.
And sat down with him and his disciples.
Go ahead.
Verse 11.
Right.
And when the Pharisees saw it,
right,
they said unto his disciples, why eateth your master with publicans and sinners?
Right.
But when Yahweh Shai heard that,
right,
he said unto them, they that be whole need not a physician,
right,
but they that are sick.
Yeah, like how is a sick person gonna, you gotta look at it like this, how is a sick person gonna clean somebody else that's sick? Dirt don't cast out dirt. Satan can't cast out Satan. Evil can't cast out good. Be not overcome with evil, but overcome evil with good. So he had to be that physician, right? Clean, but he had to be around the dirt to get that dirt cleaned up. Or else, how else would it have happened? What example would the people have seen face to face? First of all, the funny part was it wasn't just Christ, it was his apostles also. They were clean also, right? But they sat around with the publicans and sinners being that example. You see that? They weren't infiltrated with the underbelly of the society. Judas only. But the other men, for the most part, when you read, as far as them rolling with Yahweh Shai, they were doing what he was doing. He said, you're going to do these things, but greater. Right? As far as casting out spirits and just being that example and being teachers and leaders, they were going to do greater than what Christ did. You see that? So, you just got to look at it in a way of And I know I'm touching on a few different things in this one thing, but a sick can't cast out sick. Something clean has to be there to cast out sickness, right? And then being around the sick and being around those things don't make you a sinner. You see that? It don't make you a sinner unless you start to absorb that sickness and become that. And then, yes, there were ceremonially unclean instances where Christ touched a dead body. It made him unclean. You see that? It made him unclean. And he just had to go through his separation or whatever the case may be.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
The water, for the understand.
Yes, sir.
I never seen none of this stuff.
Oh, I see all of it. I seen that first. I see that the day it dropped. I was like, wait, what? Christ? Sinner? Y'all tripping. Remember, the scriptures say he was tempted in all manner, but found without fault. You see that? In all manner that we're tempted in, he was tempted. We were talking about it last night, the power that Christ had to heal and to see into a man's spirit. You think Cass wasn't coming up like, let me buy that? You think Satan was the only one that tried to tempt him? Everybody was trying to tempt him to get some of that power.
Oh, make a whole business out of that.
Yeah, we gonna monopolize. Remember, old boy, we talked about it. He tried to buy the spirit from the apostles in Acts. That was Simon, right? Yeah. Think about it. You think people wasn't trying to buy the spirit from Christ when they seen what he was doing? Nigga turn water into wine. Just think about it. If you can turn water into wine and if somebody saw that, you think that wouldn't become some way to try to make money?
Yep, absolutely.
They see you low. A man gets lowered through a roof. You touch his hand, and all of a sudden he's back to life. His hand. You think somebody ain't gonna be like, "Yo, we can make a business out of this," right? You bringing people back from the dead. You got Lazarus. You eating with Lazarus. Nigga been dead, right? You think somebody ain't like thinking like, man, we can take this show on the road, and then they go to him like, hey, we can take this show on the road. He was tempted in all manner. You see that? So, but found without sin. We got to remember that. So, yeah, let's jump back.
Leviticus chapter 7, verse 25. For whosoever eateth the fat of the beast, of which man offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High, even a soul that eateth it shall be cut off from his people.
Don't listen to Esau. The fat, you got to eat that fat. It's flavorful.
All right, fat's good for
Hell nah. Better cut that off. You're not going to avoid eating some fat, okay? If you eat a steak, it's called marbleization. There's fat mixed with meat. You're not going to be able to cut all that out. But if you cook it right, guess what's going to happen? That fat's going to dissolve, and your steak will be nice and buttery anyway. A butter soft steak. You see that? But, like, how they be, bro, like, you ever watch them cook, like, pork belly? You know, pork belly is like a thick slab of fat, this thick. And then it's like a little bit of meat. And I'm like, who eats that?
Yes.
It's all fat. First of all, the animal is wrong to eat, but then you eating the fat. And then, or how they, Esau loves to do it. How they, what is it called when they put the salt in the meat?
Cure?
They cure the meat. Right. They'll take like the bacon.
Yep.
Right? Pig, it's a thick slab of fat. They'll cure it in salt for 3 years. They'll hang it. They'll wrap it in salt, hang it from the ceiling. Come back 3 years later and slice a piece off like, tasty. Like, you didn't even cook that. You didn't cook that. Then it's all fat.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. Yeah, I watch a lot of culinary shows and world, shows where they travel around the world and eat different filth, cheese with maggots, all that. Esau loves that stuff. The soft cheeses, stay away from soft cheese. They got maggots. Right? And they'll eat the cheese with the maggot in it. With a cracker, they'll just, bam, right down the hatchet. Just swallow it, don't chew.
delicacy.
If it ain't got the maggots, it's not good cheese, according to Esau. That's what they on, eating cheese with maggots and eating cured pork dipped in salt. Because to them, that's what cooks the meat. It's very disgusting, but that's why they always got some type of sickness going on. There's some type of filth about them. So, the fat we weren't supposed to eat. That was supposed to be, the majority of the fat that you dress that out. Like when the scriptures say dress the animal, that's what it was talking about. You get off all the parts that weren't edible. You get that fat, you get them guts, you drain that blood, you dress that animal, and then you offer the parts that the Most High wanted to be offered, and you kept the parts that were going to be edible. So that fat, the blood, right? What else? Go ahead.
Verse 26. Moreover, ye shall not eat no manner of blood,
right?
Whether it be of fowl,
right,
or of beast, in any of your dwellings.
Think about the fat of an animal. That's where the blood and the fat is where disease is stored.
Yep.
In your fat cells, if you want to get scientific. Why can a pig absorb the venom of a snake and it not affect its nervous system and all those different things? Well, because it can't penetrate the fat. Pig fat. You ever see ever see a pig butchered?
Yeah.
Bro, that pig skin is thick.
Yeah.
That layer of fat, that animal was built. It's funny. It's filled with diseases, but it don't get sick.
Yeah,
think about that. Because what was it built to be? The filtration. The filter can't be dirty. Where the filter gets sick, it doesn't make sense. The filter is dirty. It's like you wouldn't dip into your garbage disposal and eat from that, right? Because it's the garbage disposal. But it's made to dispose of garbage. So it keeps doing that. It's the same thing with the pig. It was built to carry sickness and carry disease and not be affected, right? Because if you bust open pig skin, they do it all the time. They take a little piece of pig, pork chop, put it in the sun, a little Coca-Cola. Here come all the worms starting to swiggle out the meat. Those worms are there just in little hatchlings. Microscopic, you can't see them. The sun and the Coke hatches the egg, and the heat makes it want to escape that hot meat. What happens when it goes in your body? Your hot 97-degree body. Those little hatchlings don't get dissolved by stomach acids. They latch onto your stomach wall. The heat causes them to hatch. And then what do? They populate in your gut. They go to your organs, populate in your kidneys. There's cases of people. They go in, and when they do autopsies, what are they finding in their kidneys? Tapeworms. What is it? What's the worm?
Trichinosis.
Trichinosis. Yeah, they're finding those worms latched into their organs and just leeching on them.
All those nutrients.
In the brain. They'll go up your spinal cord into your brain. There was one surgery. They cut the dude's stomach, or a woman, or whatever it was. There was some blockage. When they bust that large intestine open, they were just scooping out worms. And this was real. They were saying because this person was eating a lot of pork. A lot of pork, because those parasites can't be killed with the heat that you cook with on a regular stove. They need a higher degree of temperature that your stove is not going to get. You're not going to cook meat at 400 degrees on a frying pan or whatever the case may be. You might bake at 400, but that meat is not going to get that temperature to kill those diseases. But those parasites only live in certain animals, right? But
it makes sense how the fire stayed burning continually, and how we separated these different parts of the animal that was used to filter the animal. And it didn't say like you just toast it. It said you leave it on until it was like completely burnt up. We was taking off the ashes. So it makes complete sense that the Most High was using that to just keep us clean, period. Even though we were eating a clean animal, but these different parts of the animal that carried the blood or filtered the blood, something could be in it. Mm-hmm. We're not supposed to eat that. And then us putting it on to separating it and having it on that altar and having it incinerated, pretty much, was to keep us clean.
Yep. Yeah. Where else would you put those parts? Where else are we going to put them? Bury them? Nah, you wouldn't bury that, because now your soil is contaminated, right? There was a certain place where you killed the animal, and all that blood pooled up there, and then you would deal with that. it would all go underneath the altar. The fire from the altar would just destroy that blood. Burn up those parts, like he said, a literal ancient incinerator. That stuff just turns to ash. And then ash, you know what the funny thing about ash? Ash is clean. Y'all know that, right? Ash is literally filtered. Y'all see that? You can just mix ash into dirt. C'est la vie. It's gone. You see that? So there was the Most High had a way of us doing the things we needed to do, that sacrificing the animal was a filthy thing. Like even when we get the lamb, bro, when we get the lamb for Passover, the one thing I hate about it is that they give us the brain and all the guts. And I'm like, we don't need this. And then when I toss it in the trash can, one day you take a whiff and you're like, whoa, what the hell is that smell? And then you got to remember, like, oh, I got damn animal brains and guts in my trash. The smell in one day is so bad. You know, that rotting meat. And then that's when, you know, you look in, and if you can't, like my garbage is, I remember the last spot I was living in, they did it once a week. So I remember that those parts sat in the trash for almost 5 days. Bro, like by the third day I had maggots all in my trash can. I never had maggots in my trash. We don't eat a lot of meat, so all that, you know, all the vegetables and all that other stuff gets composted. But you can tell when a person has a lot of meat inside their trash, the smell of that meat rotting. Had maggots 3 days later. Yeah. So think about it. You don't want maggots. Maggots turn into what? Flies. Into flies. So now you're gonna have a whole camp disease with doo-doo sucking flies. Landing on you, landing on your food, landing on your lip right here. Beelzebub, the Lord. Laying eggs in your water and laying eggs in your skin. Bot flies, you ever see those? They'll lay an egg in your skin, and that thing will sit in your skin. And by the time you realize that a fly done laid an egg in your pore, you got a lump raised up, and you're in pain, thinking like, oh, it's a pimple, and ain't nothing coming out. And when you go to the doctor, and he goes and he puts the tweezer in and pulls that bot fly larva out, that boy is this big. And you got a hole in your arm or whatever body part. I watch a lot of filthy things. Yeah. But I've watched bot fly extractions. They pull them out of people's faces, arms, legs, lip, mouth. They go in your ear. But imagine if your whole place is infested with that. So we understand why these fires were set up, why this burnt offering was set up and it never could stop. First of all, you did a sin offering every single day. Somebody was offering something. That didn't stop. The animal parts couldn't just sit and rot. They had to burn up. Right? The parts you didn't use, those had to be burned up to keep things clean. Right? We didn't deal with the fat and the blood because, again, the fat of the animal absorb a lot of the disease. You know, like they tell you when you go to get a massage, what do you got to do after you get a massage?
Drink a lot of water.
Drink a lot of water to do what? That boy.
Deplete that acid that's actually your muscles released inside your body, something like that.
Well, what it is when they start to press on your muscles and fat, they start to break up all that congested crap that's in you. So you drink the water to flush your blood, flush your muscles, flush the fat, all those germs and disease that's been built up through the bad eating and all those different things. A lot of times people go get massaged, they come back, they'll get sick. And they don't realize, well, you got to drink water to flush because you're pressing on the muscle, the fat. You're opening those things up back into your bloodstream. All the sickness. That's where those things sit, in the fat, in the blood. Hence, burn those things on the altar, get rid of the sickness and the disease. You get it? That's why you got to cook your meat thoroughly. Cook the blood out. What else? Go ahead, read on.
Verse 27. Whatsoever soul it be, that eateth any manner of blood, even that soul shall be cut off from his people. And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, He that offereth the sacrifice of his peace offerings unto the Most High shall bring his oblation unto the Lord of the sacrifice of his peace offerings. His own hands shall bring the offering of the Most High made by fire. The fat with the breast, it shall he bring, that the breast may be waved for a wave offering before the Most High.
What verse are you at?
Verse 31 now.
Verse 31. Okay, go ahead.
And the priest shall burn the fat upon the altar, but the breast shall be Aaron's and his sons. And the right shoulder shall ye give unto the priest for an heave offering of the sacrifices of your peace offerings.
Right, so what you do, you bring the fat and the breast. The fat goes on one side of the altar, the breast goes on the other side. Burn that fat up, let that burn all the way. That's going to help keep the fire going and blazing. The breast gets cooked up real nice, sprinkled with salt. Let's go in and eat. Go ahead.
Verse 33. He among the sons of Aaron that offereth the blood of the sacrifice offerings and the fat shall have the right shoulder for his part. For the waved breast and the heaved shoulder have I taken of the children of Israel from off the sacrifices of their peace offerings, and have given them unto Aaron the priest and unto his sons by statute forever from among the children of Israel. This is the portion of the anointing of Aaron, and of the anointing of his sons, out of the offerings of the Most High made by fire, in the day when he presented them to minister unto the Most High in the priest's office, which the Most High commanded to be given them of the children of Israel, in the day that he anointed them by statute forever throughout their generations.
That's the day when he presented them to minister unto the Lord in the priest's office. Where we at?
Verse 36.
That was it?
Verse 37, no.
Yeah, I was in his reading.
I said records up in here. Y'all don't want no 8-hour sessions, huh?
Benaiah Sabbath Yahweh Banya Shala, men of Israel, Hamadu, Barak.
Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Barakatam.
Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Barakatah.
Winning today.
You said what?
Winning today.
Right? Shadak 4, Rams horn 0. That's the best record yet. Rams horn be beating people up, bro. Rams horn be having the most mightiest men fold. Wait, I got it. No, I got it. I got it. Let me relax. Go ahead, where we at?
Leviticus chapter 7, verse 37. This is the law of the burnt offering, of the meat offering, and of the sin offering, and of the trespass offering, and of the consecrations, and of the sacrifice of the peace offering, which the Lord commanded Moses in Mount Sinai, in the day that he commanded the children of Israel to offer their oblations unto the Lord, in the wilderness of Sinai.
So these are the different offerings that we went over. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 offerings that we went over. See that? And remember, he said the trespass and the sin were one and the same. So really it was 4. But the trespass offering, sin offering were basically the same. We did the same thing for either one. Y'all see that? Very important. There was a lot of offering going on. There was a lot of offering going on, man. There was a lot of animals being offered up. Most High Christ came and made it very simple. Just give yourself. Offer yourself, willing, acceptable, right? Change your mind state. Offer your mind, and we'll make it easy. Go ahead.
That made me think about like how some people was like, yeah, you know, I'll be a better help if I'm financially. I just send money instead of sending myself or being a part. It just hit my mind like that. Like they could just send up their goats, their bullocks, their lambs, instead of, like you say, Yahweh Shai made it easy for us, present ourselves as that living sacrifice.
God.
It's the gift. Presenting ourselves is a sacrifice that keeps on giving.
God.
I mean, it's not like we present ourselves up once and then done. Now we keep giving ourselves. As long as we got breath in our body, we're able to continue to give ourselves.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, go ahead.
Leviticus chapter 8, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Take Aaron and his sons with him, and the garments, and the anointing oil, and a bullock for the sin offering, and 2 rams, and a basket of unleavened bread. And gather thou all the congregation together unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And Moses did as the Lord commanded him. And the assembly was gathered together unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And Moses said unto the congregation, This is the thing which the Lord commanded to be done. And Moses brought Aaron and his sons, and washed them with water. And he put upon him the coat, and girded him with the girdle, and clothed him with the robe, and put the ephod upon him, and he girded him with the curious girdle of the ephod, and bound it unto him therewith. And he put the breastplate upon him. Also he put in the breastplate the Urim and the Thummim.
Urim and the Thummim.
Thummim. And he put the mitre upon his head, also upon the mitre, even upon his forefront. Then he put the golden plate, the holy crown, as the Lord commanded Moses. And Moses took the anointing oil and anointed the tabernacle and all that was therein, and sanctified it. And he sprinkled thereof upon the altar 7 times, and anointed the altar and all his vessels, both the laver and his foot, to sanctify them. And he poured of the anointing oil upon Aaron's head, and anointed him to sanctify him. And Moses brought Aaron's sons, and put coats upon them, and girded them with girdles, and put bonnets upon them, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he brought the bullocks for the sin offering, and Aaron and his sons laid their hands upon the head of the bullock for the sin offering. And he slew it, and Moses took the blood and put it upon the horns of the altar round about with his finger, and purified the altar, and poured the blood at the bottom of
Wait. He put blood and did what?
and purified the altar.
How? When blood makes you unclean. See, it was all symbolism. Like the blood of Christ was going to purify us from our sins, right? But how? When blood makes you unclean. Technically, the technicalities of blood is filthiness, right? But all symbolically, all symbolism of this blood covenant that we were entering into in the Old Testament and in the New. Go ahead.
And poured the blood at the bottom of the altar, and sanctified it, to make reconciliation upon it.
See, the blood went to the bottom of the altar. And what would happen? I mean, obviously that blood would just burn up. That altar was so hot. That heat, it would just burn that stuff up. You get rid of all that disease. Go ahead.
Verse 16. And he took all the fat that was upon the inwards, and the caul above the liver, and the 2 kidneys, and their fat, and Moses burned it upon the altar.
So all Moses is doing is performing now what the Most High the laws of the offerings that the Most High told him to do. Go ahead. He's basically sacrificing for Aaron and his sons whatever sin or trespass they may have had. Go ahead.
Verse 17. But the bullock and his hide, his flesh and his dung, he burnt with fire without the camp, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he brought the ram for the burnt offering, and Aaron and his sons laid their hands upon the head of the ram, and he killed it. And Moses sprinkled the blood upon the altar round about. And he cut the ram into pieces, and Moses burnt the head, and the pieces, and the fat. And he washed the inwards and the legs in water. And Moses burnt the whole ram upon the altar. It was a burnt sacrifice for a sweet savor, and an offering made by fire unto the Lord, as the Lord commanded Moses.
Yep. That's it.
Who reads?
Next. He was 4. Yashkar. Oh yeah, Yashkar.
Where's he at?
Oh.
Yeah, so this was the consecration of Aaron and his sons. Simple as that. And all these sacrifices they did just went according to all the laws that the Most High gave in chapter 6 and 7. Real simple. Real simple. Where's he at? Is he still in the restroom?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, read, and then we'll split them up.
Leviticus chapter 8 and verse 21. And he 22?
Yeah.
Oh, select.
No.
Verse 22. It's like when an angel told Abraham not to sacrifice Isaac.
Yashikar, Ban Yashirali.
Yashkar, Shabbat Shah, Yashkar, Ban Yashala, Men of Israel, Hamadim. Barak.
Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shabbat
Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shabbat. Why you look at me like that? Like, yeah, good.
Because you looked at me.
Boots.
Oh, yeah.
Boots.
Boots is made for walking.
Boots now.
Okay.
See.
So,
Got to change seats between the boots and that headband. You got this with us. Change seats.
Universal Soldier, baby.
Salute me up.
We left off at Leviticus chapter 8 and verse 22.
Right?
Verse 22. And he brought the other ram, the ram of consecration. And Aaron and his sons laid their hands upon the head of the ram, and he slew it. And Moses took of the blood of it, and put upon the tip of Aaron's right ear, and upon the thumb of his right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot. And he brought Aaron's sons, and Moses put of the blood upon the tip of their right ear.
Ear, hand, toe, sanctified from head to toe. It was, again, just a You know how the scriptures talk about diverse washings in Hebrews and all these different purifications? That was another, that just sanctified that or symbolized Aaron being cleansed from head to toe. But again, you putting blood on a man's ear, on his finger, on his big toe, how is that cleansing him? It's really just not, right? It's just symbolic. That, you know, that blood covenant, that blood oath, that sanctification. You could have used water to do that. But nah, you're going to be drowned in this blood. Accountability. You see that? Yeah, go ahead.
And upon the thumbs of their right hands, and upon the great toes of their right feet. And Moses sprinkled the blood upon the altar round about. Verse 25. And he took the fat and the rump, and all the fat that was upon the inwards, and the caul above the liver, and the 2 kidneys and their fat, and the right shoulder, and out of the basket of unleavened bread that was before the Lord, he took 1 unleavened cake, and a cake of oil bread, and 1 wafer, and put them on the fat and upon the right shoulder. And he put all upon Aaron's hands, and upon his son's hand, and waved them for a wave offering before the Lord. And Moses took them from off their hands, and burnt them on the altar upon the burnt offerings. They were consecrations for a sweet savor. It is an offering made by fire unto the Lord. And Moses took the breast, and waved it for a wave offering before the Lord. For of the ram of consecration it was Moses' part, as the Lord commanded Moses. And Moses took of the anointing oil and of the blood which was upon the altar, and sprinkled it upon Aaron, and upon his garments, and upon his sons, and upon his sons' garments with him, and sanctified Aaron and his garments, and his sons' garments with him. And Moses said unto Aaron and to his sons, Boil the flesh at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and there eat it with the bread that is in the basket of consecrations, as I commanded, saying, Aaron and his sons shall eat. And that which remaineth of the flesh and of the bread shall ye burn with fire. And ye shall not go out of the door of the tabernacle of the congregation in 7 days, until the days of your consecration be at an end. For 7 days shall he consecrate you, as he hath done this day. So the Lord hath commanded to do, to make an atonement for you. Therefore shall ye abide at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation day and night 7 days, and keep the charge of the Lord, that ye die not. For so I am commanded. So Aaron and his sons did all things which were commanded by the hand of Moses. From there we're going to Jeremiah.
Questions? Any questions on that?
We're going to go to Jeremiah chapter 9.
7.
Most of it. Jeremiah chapter 7.
13.
21.
What captivity did Jeremiah prophesy?
The Babylonian.
How long was that captivity?
About 400, I forget, 70 years.
70 years. Good job.
We're at Jeremiah chapter 7.
Good job. 70-year captivity. Jeremiah prophesied against. Who did he prophesy against? Who was he talking to?
Jeremiah was talking to Israel.
The nation? The whole nation was there?
He was talking to, the nation of Judah.
Right. It was Judah, Benjamin,
Right.
half tribe of Levi. Right? The Assyrian captivity had already taken the 9.5. So Jeremiah is, at this time, what's going on? Well, the people think that they living good, but society is decaying. Listen, at this time, to even really speak the word of the Lord, you were looked at as an abomination. Because cats wasn't on that. It's like how we are now.
Smooth things.
Yeah. It's like how we are now, though. We go out there and you. My aunts called me from Jamaica last night. I had an aunt that I ain't talked, 2 aunts. I ain't talked to them in 30 years. About. I see one on Facebook and I added her and they called me on the Facebook Messenger. And then, you know, the talk always goes into, somehow you always get into like religion and Bible and this. But you can tell that they were like, because they don't go to church, they don't do none of that stuff, right? But you can tell when you start to bring certain things up, they start to get a little antsy. And they start to disregard the things that you're saying. And me, I wasn't trying to go deep or hard. They were asking me questions, and I was answering the questions, but you could feel the scoff coming off of them through the messenger. It was video call, right? And mind you, I ain't seen or heard from them in 30 years. But you can feel it, you know. It's any time when you try to bring biblical knowledge to any situation, what happens? They don't want to hear it. That was what's going on in the time of Jeremiah, where everybody was like, we ain't dealing with that. We want the priest to preach to us, because who was he going at? Jeremiah was going into the priests, right? The greedy dogs. Why? Because what were they on? Preaching the smooth things and preaching things that people wanted to hear and not the things they needed to hear. So now here comes this guy Jeremiah, and he's going into the priests, he's going into the nation, he's going in and saying, nah, y'all are doing things the wrong way. If you don't get it together, we got a captivity coming. You see that? So this is a good little reading, good little chapter, because he's going to go in, watch, go ahead, read it.
So, Jeremiah chapter 7 and verse 21.
Mm-hmm.
Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the power of Israel, put your burnt offerings unto your sacrifices and eat flesh.
Mm-hmm.
For I spake not unto your fathers, nor commanded them in the day that I brought them out of the land of Egypt concerning burnt offerings or sacrifices. But this thing commanded I them, saying, obey my voice.
Yeah, because, I mean, technically, when you look at it, when we came directly out of the wilderness, Most High wasn't on, oh, y'all got to sacrifice to me. He was on, y'all going to obey these commandments, right? He spoke to us from Sinai. Everybody agreed, amen. Then down the line, he came with the sacrifices and things like that. But for the most part, it was what? Just obey. Obey my voice. Right? Right, to obey is better than sacrifice. So technically, yes, he didn't come with the sacrifice off the top. He didn't come with the burnt offerings and trespass and sin and this and that until what? We started to do sin and trespass and murmur, right? Then he said, okay, this is the next thing to do.
Right.
But if you obey, you don't have to sacrifice. All you're going to do is give, and you will sacrifice, but all you're really going to be doing is giving what? A peace offering, a wave offering, some alms, right? But you're not going to have to do it for your sin, because you're going to be obeying. Go ahead.
Obey my voice, and I will be your power.
Right.
And ye shall be my people. And walk ye in all the ways that I have commanded you, that it may be well unto you. But they hearken not,
Right.
nor incline their ear.
But we did agree. We said amen. Right? We said amen. And agreed that the Most High was going to be our power and that we will follow. That's the sad part. Niggas was in the Mount Sinai begging. Amen, Lord. Why? We'll do it, Lord. We'll do it. Bruh, Israel got to stop it. That's how you know we the people, man. We can say one thing, bro, and just construct a whole reason why we made a mistake and why we shouldn't do it and why we can't. And we was scared at the time, and we was pressured, and I just wasn't thinking. Bro, Most High don't care about all that. But he still gives us chance after chance after chance after chance. Go ahead.
But walk in the counsels and in the imagination of their evil hearts, and went backward and not forward. Since the day that your fathers came forth out of the land of Egypt unto this day, I have even sent unto you all my servants the prophets, daily rising up early and sending them. Yet they hearkened not unto me, nor inclined their ear, but hardened their neck. They did worse than their fathers.
Therefore thou shalt speak all these words unto them, but they will not hearken unto thee. Thou shalt also call unto them, but they will not answer thee. But thou shalt say unto them, this is a nation that obeyeth not the voice of the Lord their power, nor receiveth correction. Truth is perished, and is cut off from their mouth. Cut off thine hair, O Jerusalem.
Do what?
Cut off thine hair, O Jerusalem.
Yeah, man. A sign of mourning. Right? You better get into that mourning state. When you cut that hair off, that was a sign of mourning. And that hair, think about the hair just on a woman. The Most High he called Israel like the bride, the woman, right? You cut that hair off, that beauty is gone. Because the woman's hair, that was her beauty. You cut that hair off, ain't no beauty in that city. Go ahead. And how could there be when there's rebellion? How could there be when there was no level of humility? We don't want to hearken. We want to do our own thing. There is no beauty. There's no beauty in a rebellious people, a rebellious nation. All the think about it. All the things that you ever see a person. You know, you have attractiveness on these different scales of attractiveness. Well, you ever have a person that's not like super attractive, but the things that they do make them very, very attractive? Right? The way they carry themselves, they're not superly like a 10, but their spirit, their personality, they're like a 20. Right? That's us. That was Israel, where the things that we did made us unattractive. So cutting off the hair and taking away all those physical things that the Most High took from us. Remember, he said, I'm going to take away the things that you adorned yourself with in beauty when you read Isaiah 3, right? I'm going to take away all the jewels and all those different things that made us beautified, but what really made us ugly as a nation was the way we carried ourselves. Right? It was the way what makes us beautiful as a nation. The way we carry ourselves. And then all the other physical things on top of that are added to like the icing on the cake.
Deuteronomy 7:6.
Right. Deuteronomy 7:6, right? Go ahead, read on.
And cast it away, and take up a lamentation on high places.
Right? Go ahead.
For the Most High had rejected and forsaken the generation of his wrath. For the children of Judah have done evil in my sight.
And it wasn't just the children of Judah, because remember, the scriptures say Judah and Israel have both been brought into captivity. It was just that at this time, in the context of Jeremiah, the 9.5 were already in the Assyrian, they were already off in Assyria, dealing with that captivity. So there was only left Judah, Benjamin, and half of Levi. Go ahead.
Said the Lord, they have set their abominations in the house which is called by my name, to pollute it. And they have built the high places of Tophet. I said it right?
Yep.
Which is in the valley of the son of Hinnom.
Right, which when you go back into when you go into Joshua, it gives you like where this land is. It's the land of Canaan. This was the land that we were supposed to take, and the land of milk and honey, right? Go ahead.
Sir, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Also, when you look at it in the honor bands, it talks about the Valley of Hinnom. It's also known as the Valley of Slaughter.
Well, that's what it's about to go into.
Oh, okay. That's what
it's called the Valley of Slaughter because this story is going to tell you why. It wasn't the Valley of Slaughter until this. Watch. Go ahead. Why? It's going to tell you. But you're right. Go ahead.
To burn their sons and their daughters in the fire.
Right.
which I commanded them not.
So first it was like a valley of sacrifice to these gods.
Right.
Right? Who they sacrificed to?
Baal.
Molech. It was Molech. Go to Psalms 106. Psalms 106, 38. 106, 35.
Psalms chapter 106, verse 35.
Right?
But were mingled among the heathen
Go ahead.
and learned their works.
Go ahead.
And they served their idols.
See that? We were mingled amongst the heathen. Instead of destroying the Canaanites, what did we do? The total opposite. We made marriages with them. We made a covenant with them. We kept them alive. We made them our slaves. But then they started to rise up under us and overtake, and then we started to serve their idols. Go ahead.
Which were a snare unto them.
Which were and are and always will be a snare unto us. You idolizing white Jesus, that's a snare. Right? You putting your woman on a pedestal and pedestalizing your wife, that's a snare. The black woman is God. I'm a God. That's all snares, man. Kemet. Right? That's all a snare for our people. Go ahead.
Yea, they sacrificed their sons and their daughters unto devils.
How did they do that? They were literally casting their children. We were literally casting our children into the fire of Molech, putting them on that hot idol, building idols so big, you threw your children on that and they just burned. Go ahead.
And shed innocent blood.
Right?
Even the blood of their sons and of their daughters.
What verse are you at?
Verse 38.
Go ahead.
Whom they sacrificed unto the idols of Canaan.
Right. See that? The idols of Canaan. Go ahead.
Man was polluted with blood.
Right. So this was the land that it was going into. Go back to Jeremiah 8 and 31. Sir.
What was that Psalm again?
Psalms chapter 106.
Psalms 106 and 35 down. 38. I mean, that Psalms goes all the way down. Yeah, that Psalms goes all the way down. Read Jeremiah 7 and 31.
Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 31, last precept. Which I commanded them not, neither came it into my heart. Therefore, behold, the days come, said the Most High, that it shall no more be called Tophet,
right?
Nor the valley of the son of Hinnom,
right?
But the valley of slaughter.
Right. You see that? It's going to be the valley of slaughter because why? The same very place that Israel sacrificed to these gods, Most High is letting us know we're going to be killed here. This was Jeremiah prophesying against Judah and letting them know, look, when Babylon comes in, you're going to get wiped out right here in this same very valley. The same place that you use to sacrifice to other gods is going to be the same place where you die. Y'all see this? Go ahead.
Verse 33. And the carcasses of this people shall be meat for the fowls of heaven, and the beasts of the earth, and none shall fray them away.
You know what's wild? Because you know when you hear this and you're like, man, the carcasses shall be meat for animals. Basically, dead bodies are gonna lay there and nobody was gonna bury them. You know, at this time, when you heard supposedly when you heard things like this, it was supposed to scare you. You know why? Because look at how much reverence we gave to burials. That was a huge thing in our custom, to bury your dead, to sleep next to your fathers, right? When you read about all the great men, even some wicked cats, even some wicked dudes, right? They got at least the opportunity to be buried next to their fathers. And then David slept with his fathers, and Solomon slept with his fathers in his father's sepulcher, and Abraham bought a whole plot of land from Ham to be able to bury his lineage, right? That was a big thing. Tobit, he went around and buried the bodies in the time of Babylon, right? To not be buried for your carcass to sit there and just be picked apart, that was a bad thing. That means there was no care for you. There was no care for that body. Think about how we did dead bodies and burial. We washed the body. Think about what they did with Christ. They brought hundreds of pounds of frankincense and myrrh and spice just to wrap his body with. Right? Fresh linens. It's like we took care of the dead body better than we took care of the live bodies. Right? With fresh linens, spices, frankincense, myrrh, heavy weights of spice. Wash the body, wrap it, preserve it. Right? For somebody not to be able to get that done, man, you are an abominable cat. To not be buried. Like, look, even Saul and them cats got buried. Right? They had funerals. Right? David gave the eulogy for Saul, for Jonathan. Right? How the mighty have fallen. Right?
Yeah.
But to not be buried, to be the meat for the fowls and the wild beasts, bro, that was a bad thing. You read that a lot in a lot of the prophecies. You read that a lot in Revelations. Right? That what? The fowls of the air were going to pick apart the dead. Right? When that time came. So it was a big thing to be buried in our culture, and to not be, it just showed that the Most High had a real large disdain for you. Go ahead.
Verse 34. Then will I cause to cease from the cities of Judah and from the streets of Jerusalem the voice of mirth and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride.
Ain't no marriages, ain't nobody being jolly and happy. I'm gonna kill all that noise, because that's all y'all are on.
Yep.
Y'all want to marry and give it in marriage and be joyful and myrrh and drink and party. I'm killing that.
Same thing today.
Same thing today. Go ahead.
For the land shall be desolate.
But the difference is, see, this is the Most High giving us, this is the Most High, right, giving the same sign, just in a different way. As in the days of Noah, they're going to be eating and drinking. In this day and age, he killed that eating and drinking to show, like, I ain't messing with y'all. But in these days, I'm going to let y'all carry on. Do your thing. Eat, drink, party, kick it. Let you think ain't nothing going on. And then boom, the thief in the night is going to appear and take your life. Take this world by storm. So the Most High gives those warnings. The warning is, all you got to do is look around and look at the chaos. Look at what everybody's on, and you'll know what time we in. This is no different than the days of Noah. The violence, the partying, the drinking, the every man shall be lover of himself. Every man's belly is what's going to guide him. You see that? That's the times that we're in. Go ahead.
Chapter 8, verse 1. At that time, said the Most High,
Right?
they shall bring out the bones of the kings of Judah,
Right?
and the bones of his princes,
Right?
and the bones of the priests.
Bro, I'm going to uncover these bones because they're not worthy to be buried. Think about that. Consecrating graves. I'm going to let your graves be destroyed. And your great kings and men are going to be dug up. And their bones are going to be decimated. Desecrated. That's the word. I said consummated. Desecration of graves. Think about that. In ancient society, to desecrate graves, that was a big thing. Even in Egypt, when you desecrated a grave, I mean, they got retarded with it in Egypt. When you got your grave desecrated, that for Egyptians, you couldn't go into the afterlife. If you went into the afterlife and you weren't whole, then you couldn't get into the afterlife. That's what they believed. So you had people that would purposely go desecrate some pharaoh's graves or certain political figures that they didn't like. They would go in there and rob their graves, cut the mummy open. They would wrap the mummies in linen, but they would also layer like golden trinkets and ornaments in the linens, but they will also put them inside the body cavity. So they would desecrate the body. That body wasn't going into the afterlife. That's what they believe. Now, obviously, we know that flesh and blood is flesh and blood, right? The spirit goes to the Most High. That damn carcass goes into the ground and returns to where it goes. And the afterlife is going to be there regardless. How you lived on earth is going to determine what afterlife you have. whether it be pain and punishment or a nice habitation. 75 degrees, 0.5, right? With no breeze and a nice sun kissing your cheek, right? Perfection, right? But the way you lived on earth is going to determine that. Not if somebody desecrated your grave, but to have those things happen to you, bro. It just showed the lack of care, the lack of security that the Most High was going to have for our people. Not because he didn't want to, because of what we were doing. To have your kings dug up, imagine they go and dig up King David's bones at this time. Like, we gonna go dig up David's bones and desecrate his grave and dig up Solomon and dig up this king and dig up Samuel, the priest. Bro, where's Jacob's bones at, nigga? We about to go get those bones and we gonna dig them up and grind them and turn them into an idol. Look what they did with Saul's body. When they got a hold of his body, they hung his body up in there. Bro, desecration, right? So the Most High was showing that, listen, I ain't riding with y'all and anything that you're doing, and even your great men are going to have to pay the punishment for the filth y'all are doing now.
Damn.
It's cold, man. But see, these principles we took to heart until we stopped. We took these things to heart. I mean, come on, man. When Jacob told Joseph, take my bones out of Egypt, right?
Yeah.
Bro, he held to that. Yeah. They buried him, dug him up, and then took his bones out. Right? Wasn't who else? Somebody told Moses the same thing, right? Or no? Who carried whose bones? Maybe I'm mixing it up. Y'all looked at me funny. Wasn't it Jacob told Joseph? Yeah. Joseph was the king.
No, it was Joseph that told them, because Joseph passed away when Moses left Egypt.
Yeah.
Was it Joseph told them to bring his bones out? Didn't they bring Jacob's bones?
Right. Sorry.
No, Jacob was buried. Jacob was buried in the king.
But didn't he die in
That's
Egypt?
right.
But yeah,
They traveled to go bury
traveled
him.
to go bury him.
Right.
It was Joseph who said, "Bring my bones up out of here."
Yeah, it was
Right.
Joseph.
But even that, for that to happen, but didn't Moses take somebody's bones?
That was Joseph.
It was Joseph's bones, right? Okay. See, I'm sorry. Getting my timeline mixed up. But yeah, it was Moses that took the bones out of Egypt, right? Years later, took his bones, get up out of here, right? To go bury him in our land. That was a big thing for us, for burial and for, it was our tradition. It was what the Most High set up. We took that stuff seriously until we didn't. So these were threats that we shouldn't have took lightly. Most High is threatening us here. Like, I'm already pissed off, so I'm about to start threatening y'all. Look, I'm about to dig up y'all's kings, y'all's priests, y'all's leaders, and I'm gonna scatter these bones just out in the open so y'all can see how much disdain I have for your doings. We weren't supposed to take it lightly. We took it lightly. Read it.
And the bones of the prophets.
Right? Oh, come on. Your prophets? Where's Moses' bones at? Let's go get them. Right? Where's Joshua's bones at? Where's Caleb and them? Where's the judges? Deborah, right? All those judges. Go ahead.
And the bones of the inhabitants of Jerusalem,
Mm-hmm.
out of their graves,
Mm-hmm.
and they shall spread them before the sun,
Mm-hmm.
and the moon,
Uh-huh.
and all the host of heaven.
Why? Why the sun, the moon? Why did he say I'm going to spread it amongst the sun, the moon, and the host of heaven? Why did he say that? I got the scripture just hit me right in the dome. Because you know why? Basically, it was like, let your God save you.
Yeah.
Sun, moon, and star, you want to worship those things? Let's see if they can bring you back to life. Let's see if they can rebury your bones. Let's see if the sun, the Molech, right? Let's see if all those things you're worshiping and sacrificing to right? That star of Molech. Remember, That star of Molech, it was a calf, and he had a star, a round circle in his forehead. Okay, the star of Molech was a round circle in the calf's head, and we sacrifice and worship that. Let's see if that can bring those bones back into its grave. Let's see if those bones will protect you from the or let's see if the sun, moon, and stars is going to protect you from the oncoming slaughter from the Babylonians. Let's see who has the power. But you know what's wild? Now I see why the Most High be letting people just be on crack and be on drugs and be on weed and be on pride. He's like, okay, that's what you want? Let's see how that saves you. And now you got to make decisions with a crack mind, with a prideful mind, with a weed-infested mind. And it's like your best decision got you here, right? Come on, man, you making crackhead decisions. Do I sell the baby or do I eat?
You said sell the baby.
Do I sell the baby for a hit of crack or do I eat? That's a crackhead decision, right? We laugh, but that's what decisions crackheads was making. Do I get a baby up for a smidgen of crack, or do I provide for my child? Weedhead decisions. I got $20. Do I put $3 in the tank and spend the rest on weed in the Philly? Right? Or do I get gas? Because gas is $18 a gallon now. You see what I'm saying? Like, but those are the decisions that you, like, I'm going to give you over to that lust. I'm going to give you over to that God.
That's true.
That you put on a pedestal, whatever it is.
Let your God
So,
save you.
yeah, so now your car got to save you. I'm going to let your woman be your guidance. I'm going to let your gun, your money, what?
Something like he did to Egypt too.
It's exactly what he did to Egypt. All those gods that they served, those same things he turned on them. Right? Whether it be the god of the Nile, whether it be the god of the flies, the god of the frogs, the god of the blood, the firstborn, that's your god. Pharaoh, he's your god. I'm going to turn all those things on you and see how well can they save you. Most High was cold, man. What?
I had a scripture.
What you got?
It's Jeremiah chapter 21, verse 5.
Read it.
It says, "And I myself will fight against you with an outstretched hand and with a strong arm, even in anger and in fury and in great wrath." So it just shows that the Most High would actually fight against you whenever you turn your back on him.
Yeah, and he'll and really, does he got to fight against you?
Wow.
Hell no, he just lets you. He just backs up. The way the Most High fights, surely the Lord will do nothing. He backs up and he does nothing, and he lets all the things around you overtake you. You want to cater to your family? Well, then guess what? They're gonna be the thing you got to turn to now for wisdom, but they're gonna be whipping you. I talked about this the other day. What's that, sis? Tell her where you at.
Oh, forgive me. So it's Jeremiah 5. I lost it.
It was Jeremiah
21 and 5, I believe. Yeah, 21 and 5. Jeremiah 21 and 5.
Watch, go to Judges 10:14. Actually, go to Jeremiah 2 and 8 since we close.
Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 8.
Go ahead.
The priest said not.
Jeremiah 2:28.
2:28?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Jeremiah chapter 2:28. But where are thy gods that thou made thee?
Well, I know where they at. They up in the sky. So I'm going to let you see them. I'm going to spread your bones out so they can see you. Remember we read it the other day in Kings with Elijah, right? And he said, okay, you're going to pray to your God and you're going to pray for 18 hours straight. Whip yourselves, yell, chant, scream, pray louder, go crazy. And I'm going to pray over here in the corner, and guess what's going to happen? They didn't get not one answer. You didn't get not one answer when you relied on your money, your car, your husband, your wife, your house, your job, your pride. Where's the answer that you get in any type of wisdom? There isn't one. So the Most High said what? Read it again.
Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 28.
Right?
But where are thy gods that thou hast made thee?
Right?
Let them arise.
Let them what?
Let them arise.
Go ahead.
If they can save thee in the time of thy trouble.
Go ahead.
For according to the number of thy cities are thy gods.
Yeah, man. And that's the problem with who? Oh, who?
Oh, Judah.
Yeah. We put everything as a god. He said, according to the number of your cities, you got gods. We had a few cities. We had a few cities, man. But that's the problem with our people. We put everything up on this pedestal. We pedestalize everything but what needs to be on that pedestal. We put everything as a god before the Most High. So he's like, you know what? Okay, look, white man, oh, well, I'm going to let you have him. I will let him just do what white people do to you. Since you believe in them more than you believe in my words. And look, they're going to be your downfall. Sports figures, celebrities, social media, your electronics, all that stuff. You kids with your video games and electronics, that can't be your God. Because the Most High lets you just let that overtake you, and then you just be some dunce, some just slow little kid that can't read. And then when you get older, what's going to happen? All you got is video games and nothing to show for your upbringing. You got to see what's going on here. You got to be paying attention. The ones that are able. Go back to, where did I want?
10:14.
You get it. Judges 10:14.
Judges 10:14.
Right?
Go and cry unto the gods which ye have chosen.
Mm-hmm.
Let them deliver you in the time of your tribulation.
Yeah, so this is why the Most High was doing this stuff or prophesying these things in the time of Jeremiah. I'm going to spread your bones out in front of the sun, moon, and stars. Since that's what you want to worship, let them save you. Let them rebury you. Let them take care of you. Go ahead. Back to Jeremiah.
Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 2. And they shall spread them before the sun and the moon and all the hosts of heaven, whom they have loved, and whom they have served,
right?
And after whom they have walked, and whom they have sought, and whom they have worshipped.
Go ahead.
They shall not be gathered, nor be buried.
Yeah, because the sun ain't going to answer your prayers. The moon, the stars, the heavens, they ain't going to answer your prayers, man. The one in the heavens will answer your prayer. Go ahead.
They shall be for dung upon the face of the earth. And death shall be chosen rather than life by all the residue of them that remain of this evil family, which remain in all the places whither I have driven them, said the Lord of hosts. And that's it.
That's it for you?
Oh, no. That's it for that part.
Go to 9 and 22.
So we're going to 9, Jeremiah chapter 9,
22.
and verse 22. Jeremiah chapter 9, verse 22. Speak, thus said the Most High, even the carcasses of men shall fall as dung upon the open field, and as the handful after the harvestmen, and none shall gather them. Thus said the Most High, let not the wise man glory in his wisdom, neither let the mighty man glory in his might. Let not the rich man glory in his riches.
Yeah, man, because what wisdom is it that you're using? The wisdom of this world is wickedness, foolishness with the Most High, right? The might curses the man that trusteth in man and make strength his arm, flesh his arm, right? Riches fly away like a dove. All the things that you can try to count on, your strength, your wisdom, and your riches, bro, Most High, dry that up, and you always got to revert right back to him. His wisdom, his strength, his riches.
All right, now we're going to Matthew chapter 9, and
13.
And verse 13.
Yeah, we were just here. Yep. Matthew 9. Any questions in Jeremiah? Jeremy? No. Jeremy. Jeremiah. Okay, Matthew's 9.
Matthew chapter 9, verse 13. But go ye and learn what that meaneth.
So we read this earlier. The sick needeth a physician, the whole needeth not a physician. It starts in a weird part of the chapter. But he said, go ye and learn what this meaneth. Go ahead.
I will have mercy and not sacrifice. For I am not come to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance.
Mm-hmm.
Then came to him the disciples of John, saying, Why do we and the Pharisees fast oft, but thy disciples fast not?
Right, now let's be real. How many times were we commanded to fast in the year? To fast.
Oh, one time.
One time, Day of Atonement.
Kind of.
You niggas is fasting off for what? That's y'all's choice. Right? Remember the Pharisees that said they fasted? They appeared to fast in front of men?
Yeah.
Right. But you got John's disciples and the Pharisees coming like, man, we always fasted. What's up with your guys? Why they never be fasting? Why would you? Why would you fast when you got the Messiah sitting in front of you? Aren't you going to be happy? Aren't you going to be in that time of joy and mirth? It's like, Martha, Martha, you're cumbered about with many matters. Martha had Christ sitting in front of her. She's trying to clean the house. Bro, you better sit down and learn something. You better sit at that man's feet and get a lesson. Right? You worried about the wrong thing. You trying to clean and get things organized. Too late. Too late. Right? It's time for you to, this is the time for you to sit back and absorb. Wasn't time for the, there was no need. There was no need. It wasn't time for them to be in that fasting mode because they were moving and grooving, teaching, doing the things that they needed to do. They knew what they had in front of them, so they were enjoying the moment. Go ahead.
Verse 15. And Yahushua said unto them, Can the children of the bride chamber mourn? Can the children of the bride chamber mourn as long as the bridegroom is with them?
Yeah, you go to a wedding, you're gonna be mournful in front of the groom and the bride. No, you're gonna enjoy and partake in their joy, right, and in their mirth. Then when they're gone, you'll be mourned like a parent. Think about a parent that is marrying off their daughter, and they know she's gonna be leaving and going. In that moment, you're not mournful, right, that she's going to be separating from the house. You're partaking in that joy for whatever days, those 7 days. Then afterwards, you get into the mourning state like, damn, right? But you don't mourn in the middle of the ceremony, in the middle of the marriage. You drinking, you eating, you partying. You mourn later. Damn, we're going to miss our daughter, right? It wasn't time. Go ahead.
But the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken from them.
Which is Christ. Go ahead.
And then shall they fast.
Right.
But no man putteth a piece of new cloth unto an old garment. For that which is put into it, fill it up, taketh from the garment, and the rent is made worse. Neither do men put new wine into old bottles, else the bottles break, and the wine runneth out, and the bottles perish. But they put new wine into new bottles, and both are preserved. While he spake these things unto them, behold, there came a certain ruler, and worshipped him, saying, My daughter is even now dead, but come.
Wait, did he say porn? Huh? That was somebody. Did he say porn? No. I think you might have missed. You referring to something that I said. You might have misheard me. We didn't say anything about pornography. I don't remember saying anything about that. That was like 10 minutes ago. No. Anyway, go ahead.
My daughter My daughter is even now dead. But come and lay thy hand upon her, and she shall live. And Yahushua arose and followed him, and so did his disciples. And behold, a woman which was diseased with an issue of blood 12 years came behind him and touched the hem of his garment.
So whatever she touched would be unclean because she had an issue of blood. More than likely, she might have had like a prolonged menstrual cycle, right? Where her menstrual cycle just would not go away.
12 years.
12 years. She was just menstruating. Go ahead.
Let's see.
Oh, it's on me. What verse?
Verse 21.
21. For she said within herself, I'll read it. And behold, a woman which was diseased with an issue of blood 12 years came behind him and touched the hem of his garment, his little fringe. She touched the fringe, right? But for she said within herself, faith, if I may but touch his garment, I shall be whole. Remember when Yahushua healed a lot of people, he said, your faith has healed you? The centurion that came with the servant that needed to be healed, and he said, listen, just say the words and he'll be healed. Faith. Their faith is what healed them. Pick up your bed, sin no more. Pick up your bed, go present yourself in front of the priest, let them check you out, sin no more. A lot of that was just their own faith, man. This woman had faith enough to believe it, but then she had the works enough to go seek out Christ and go touch him, right? That she had enough works to go touch this man's hem, right? But Yahushua turned him about, and when he saw her, he said, daughter, be of good comfort. Thy faith hath made thee whole. And the woman was made whole from that hour. And when Yahushua came into the ruler's house and saw the minstrels and the people making noise, he said unto them, give place, for the maid is not dead, but sleepeth. And they laughed him to scorn. But when the people were put forth, he went in and took her by the hand. Yep, that's what he was doing. Into this wisdom of Solomon. Wow. All right, let's go to Wisdom of Solomon chapter 1. We already read Esther, right? Real good story. Remember, we're trying to incorporate, or we are incorporating the Apocrypha into our readings. So what we've been doing is just going book by book, chapter by chapter each Sabbath. So we did Esther, we did Ezra, right? We're in Wisdom of Solomon, which is a very, very good book, right? So we'll start Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1 and verse 1. Wisdom of Solomon 1 and 1. Love righteousness, ye that be judges of the earth. Think of the Lord with a good heart, and in simplicity of heart seek him, right? It's the simplicity that's in Christ, right? What is that? 1 Corinthians 11 and 3. Keep it simple. All that, you got some Israelites that are too smart for themselves, man. They outsmart themselves. They come with all this deep, super exoteric, deep wisdom. And you confuse people. He said, seek him out in the simplicity. Keep it simple. He made things simple for us to be simply understood and then to be simply done. Keep it simple. For he will be found of them that tempt him not, and show himself unto such as do not distrust him. For forward thoughts separate from God, right? Pride is the beginning of when a man, what is it? The beginning of pride is when one separates from his maker, right? Those forward thoughts. And his power, when it is tried, reproveth the unwise. See, a lot of the times, man, when we go against the status quo of the Most High, we're trying to try his power. But it said it reproves the unwise. All that checking and all that checks and balances that we get, that's the Most High reproving us. For into a malicious soul wisdom shall not enter, nor dwell in the body that is subject unto sin. So a body that's subject unto sin, a malicious spirit. You can't house good in something bad, right? Your body is the temple of the Lord, but you can't have the temple of the Lord housing devils, right? What does the temple have to do with idols? You can't have that in there, right? So if we're the temple of the Lord, if our body is a temple, we can't have, wisdom won't dwell with maliciousness. Only one is going to occupy that space, right? Remember, a body that's subject unto sin. There's many ways to subject your body unto sin, where you can't house wisdom and you can't house the Holy Spirit, right? How do you subject your body unto sin, Quatazop? What do you mean by that? Right? Good question, class. Right? Well, think about it. The way we eat, right? It's wild, man. I got a lot of people on Facebook, and I'll sit back and, they got Judah this and Judah that, and their names, all super Hebrew names, and you know what I'm saying, beards and all this stuff. But then they'll be on Facebook cooking shrimp, pork. They'll be cooking shrimp like, oh, it's lawful. The law. But then just give it some time. Give it some time, and then what you see is that one thing that they continue to do. What happens is it snowballs into all these other things, and then you start looking, and it's no longer Judah this or Judah that. The name changed back to Leroy. You know what I'm saying? The fringes come off. The beard gets shaved off. Top lip, butt naked. Right? Can't trust a brother that ain't got no top beard, no mustache. You know what I'm saying? It's weird, man. But that top mustache is gone, looking like a Muslim. You know what I'm saying? Kufi goes on. Yeah, and then next thing you know, they're just spiritual. I'm just a spiritual man. And a spiritual person would dive into any spirit, right? Whether it be the spirit of Buddha, whether it be the spirit of Islam, Allah, whether it be the spirit of Christianity, they'll show up to every function. They won't be steadfast. But why? Because into a body that's subject unto sin. You got cats that are Israelites that still believe you can get tattoos. You got cats that claim to be Israel that they still think the law is done away with, and they subject their body unto sin. Right? It's okay to smoke cigarettes. It's okay to hit black and miles. I can still pop pills. I can do edibles. You're subjecting your body unto sin. So it says, into a body subject to sin, wisdom won't enter. You see that? So if wisdom is not there, what's there? Folly.
So you're giving yourself into
you're excusing yourself from wisdom to let your body and your temple be occupied with foolishness and folly. Right?
The reason why I say that is because I was confused with it. Because what if you're getting temptation, a lot of temptation be hitting you on the sides, and you're sitting there saying, well, you're praying, get this off you, got all these things that are hitting you. That's not subject to sin.
Well, temptation is supposed to be there.
Right, okay.
But when you give in to the temptation, then you're subjecting yourself to sin. Right? Now, is every temptation a sin?
Well,
oh, of course not. Every temptation is not a sin.
It's just temptation.
Think about it. Is it a sin to have money?
Blah.
But it's a temptation. For some to do what?
Right.
Follow after money and put down the scriptures.
Right.
Is it a sin to have? Is it a sin to have a woman?
Blah.
No. Right? But then some cats are tempted into having 50, 100, just being whoremongers. Right? And that's where it becomes wrong. That's where it becomes negative.
Right.
Every temptation ain't a sin, but all things are lawful, but not all things are expedient. You see that? So temptation is there as a gauge to show you how spiritually strong you've became since the last tempting. That's what temptation's supposed to do.
I see.
It's not there for you to fall, but it's supposed to give you at least a gauge to see, can I fight through the temptation? And if I was tempted in my early goings in the wisdom and I fell, how did I fortify myself, that godly sorrow? How did I build myself up and guard my mind for the next tempting? You see
I
that?
understand.
Yeah. Remember, the temptation is there every day.
It is.
It's there every single day. And spirits are always going to try to hit you. And always, everybody on all levels. Me, him, everybody. It's always there. Right? And it's the more that, the more that's given to you, the more you're supposed to still fortify your mind to not let those things that are given or that you're responsible for become where I'm gonna do wrong by it. What do I mean? Well, like as a leader, right? Like I mean, everybody knows I control the finances for the camp here in Houston, right? There's money that comes in, but if I let that temptation or I'm not saying I'm tempted, but if you let temptation creep in and you fall to it, next thing you know, the rent money for the school is getting blown on the casino. You see what I'm saying? Or something from my household.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. It can lead to those things, right? But that's not even a temptation for me. That's not even a thing.
Right.
I'm scared, right? I don't play with the church's money. Right? I'm scared. Most High crush you.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah.
So, just showing you, like, we always talk about into a malicious soul, wisdom won't enter, but what about when you're subjecting your body? What about the brother that's a whoremonger? Well, it's lawful. I could have as many, but what if you're just whoremongering? Right? You're subjecting your body into a sinful practice. Wisdom is not going to dwell in you. What about the person that doesn't have any moderation? Drinking is lawful, but where does it get unlawful? Moderation. Eating is lawful, but where does it get unlawful? Moderation. So if I'm constantly immoderate in my eating and my drinking, it's going to become unhealthy, right? Then I'm going to be sick, right? And then it's going to lead into all these things. You're not wise if you don't have no moderation. There's no wisdom there anyway.
That's true.
The wisdom is to be moderate. So just showing y'all, man, how you have a lot of Israelites, right, that still subject their bodies to sinful practices, but they wonder why they can't get ahead. It's like the typical weed smoker. Bro, I laugh. I'm like, let me see what happens to you in 3 years if you don't give up weed. And then 3 years later, they on some weird doctrine. They get worse than what they were before. They get worse than what they were before. They're the ones that move to Peru, live on a farm, and say that you can't reproduce with your wife, and tell you that Peru is the promised land. That's what they be on, right? They're the ones that, bro. I go into so much because I got all these different people on Facebook, and I keep mental track. I'm like, oh, you was on that 3 years ago. Let's see where you at. Dang, you got worse. But guess what? I've seen it here in the school with brothers, sisters. They come in, their bodies are subjected to a certain demon. They didn't eradicate that. When they leave up out of here, they're worse than what they came in as. The scriptures tell you. It was better for them not to even know the truth. Their first estate their last estate is worse than their first estate. You see that? Because wisdom never took hold. For the Holy Spirit of discipline will flee deceit and reprove from thoughts that are without understanding, and will not abide when unrighteousness come in. See, and that's the thing. When unrighteous thinking comes in, and when that overtakes, wisdom flees you. See, the scriptures say, be not overcome with evil, but overcome evil with good. Listen, the unrighteousness that's trying to come in is the temptation. It's trying to come in. That's why it is a temptation. There has to be enough wisdom in you to overtake the unrighteous thoughts. Every temptation ain't a sin. Remember that. Every temptation ain't a sin. All things are lawful, but not all things are expedient. Right? All things are lawful, but I will not be brought under the power of any. You see that? So don't think, well, Because it's not a, and don't think because it's not a sin that it's not a temptation. You see that? It's think about it. When some little harlot chick in the mall pops up, right, Victoria's Secret with the Victoria's Secret bra on, and it's, you're the one that's cut, and it gives the whole top of the cleavage, and she's jiggling in front of you, and and then she's trying to put her number into your phone, and right, because you look like Ricky Martin, you know what I'm saying? You look like because your name is Enrique, Ricky, right?
That's funny.
Is it a good thing to go slide off with that chick? Nah, because it will become sinful. Because you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen with that chick. You're going to get with that, and then you're not going to get with that. She's going to get with the next cat. There's the adultery. Or she might have already been somebody's woman, and she acting like she's not. There's the adultery. It's not a wicked thing to be with a woman, but what status is she on? You see that? So the temptation can become sinful. The unrighteous thought enters when it's like, I could get with that. Well, you got to have enough wisdom in you to say, wait a minute. Christ, Most High, standard, got a rib, got kids, got responsibilities. This is Satan. What is this trying to pull me from? Like, all those things are supposed to come into play. But if the unrighteous thought of, let me get with her, is bigger than all the righteous thoughts, you're going to fall. Right? You're going to fall. Ricky. You're going to fall, Enrique. Right? You're going to fall, Antonio.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Let me read on, man. 6, for wisdom is a loving spirit, and will not acquit a blasphemer of his word. Will not acquit a blasphemer of his words. Why? Because the spirit will bring all things to remembrance. Right? And a true beholder of his heart, and a hearer of his tongue. For the Spirit of the Lord filleth the world, and that which containeth all things hath knowledge of the voice. Therefore, he that speaketh unrighteous things cannot be hid. Why? Because the Spirit is going to reveal it. All things done in secret will be brought to light. Neither shall vengeance, when it punisheth, pass by him. That's why the Most High said, don't seek vengeance. When he sends that vengeance out, it's not going to pass by who it's meant for. But because a wicked man, because judgment is not executed fast as you think it should be, you're like, man, are they going to just go unpunished? What about me? What about my justice? What about it? Let them do what they got to do. And the Most High, he'll send his judgment out to who he has to send it out in their time. Everything in his time. Don't get caught up in, well, I'm going through this life and I'm living and I got to be clean and I got to be this. And remember, Psalm 73? Right? I almost slipped looking at the prosperity of the wicked.
Gone.
They go unchecked. They live a voluptuous life. They get all the riches and it's like there's no death. There's no destruction. It's all prosperity. And you look and you're like, damn, these niggas get to sell drugs, drive nice cars, get the women, get the cars, get the money, get the houses. And I got to struggle. But they got their time. They got their time. There's no retirement plan with drug dealers and murderers and killers. Look at them all, from Pablo Escobar all the way down. They got documentaries showing their downfall. Most High is going to get them. Right? For, verse 9, for inquisition shall be made into counsels of the ungodly, and the sound of his word shall come unto the Lord for the manifestation of his wicked deeds. That's why you ain't got to worry about wicked men when they speak. It says all that's going to come to the ears of the Lord. Who better?
That's true.
Who better, man? That's why when I do hop on Facebook and I see certain cats that talk reckless, and they said certain things about me, about brothers, and I'm like, who? That's what you say. And then you go through the whole timeline and you see the catastrophic downfall like Pharaoh in Egypt. Most High heard you. Most High heard you talking that crap, talking that nonsense. And he'll destroy cats, and it's like, you ain't got to do nothing. You ain't got to take vengeance. You don't even have to be upset. Just keep doing what you're doing. Don't worry about how the ungodly will be punished, but worry about how your ass is going to be saved. Excuse my language. But we supposed to worry about how we're going to be saved, not how the wicked is going to be punished because they talk bad about you, or they said something about your mama, or they didn't want to be around, or who cares? None of that matters. None of that matters. The Most High hears it all. Watch. For the air of jealousy heareth all things. For the air of jealousy heareth all things, and the noise of murmurings is not hid, i.e. Egypt, right? When we murmured in Egypt, Most High was, what the hell is y'all murmuring about? I hear the murmurings. Moses, I hear the murmurings, right? Wife, when you murmur against your husband, someone hears that. The Most High, He hears that. When we murmur against the Most High, when we murmur against the orders and the ordinances, the Most High hears that. Aren't you supposed to be able to care for all those wives, spiritually, mentally, physically, monetarily? Yeah. You're going back to, I know I mentioned something about 100 wives. Yes. Being a husband of a first wife, meaning you are able to take care of all the duties that came with having a wife, right? So you were able to, yes, keep her grounded spiritually, build with her. The children were in order, all those different things. Financially, y'all were set in a at least in a way to be able to pay for things, But yeah. You were supposed to be able to take responsibility for the first one before you went and got a second, a third, a fourth. It's like anything. Who gets 5 cars and they never took care of one?
It's true. You gotta take care of that.
Right? You got to take care of that one. Remember when you were a kid and you wanted a pet? And you wanted the dog and they were like, hell no, get the goldfish. You're like, but I want the dog. And you got the dog and the dog pooped and chewed everything. And you were like, damn, I should have got the goldfish because he just poops in the cage. In the tank, and all you gotta do is clean that tank once every so often, right? And it would just live, and you fed them, right? But you overfed them, killed them. You didn't change the water, killed them, right? You were supposed to learn lessons off of the small thing. Husband of a first fish, husband of a first car, husband of a first, like even us, we do the delivery truck. And I'm always on husband of a first truck.
Husband of a first
Before
truck.
we go get a second, third, Brock can tell you how we went and got a second truck yesterday. But you know how much we went through in the last year dealing with the first truck? Man, a lot, right? We went through husbandry. Bro, I almost had heart attacks over this truck. You know when your phone ring and you know the brother's on the truck and you like, and I'm like, I don't even want to answer it. Don't call. Don't answer. And I'm like, okay, it wouldn't even be a shalom. I'd be like, okay, tell me the bad news. And every time, I remember there was a week straight. I was in Rochester. It was probably like the last month in Rochester. Every day, every phone call was, this broke on the truck. The truck broke down. This stopped running. This stopped working. And I was like, bro, I didn't want to take no phone calls from Houston. Specifically from Locker Rob, because he was running the truck. I did not want to take no phone calls because I'm like, yo, this is crazy. But we had to get through that. We had to understand that you have to maintain that truck. Even though you're running it all these days, you got to pause on a day and say, hey, mechanic, look at the truck. Tell us what needs to be topped off, fluids, fixed, whatever the case may be. Maintenance, right? Then you put the truck back on the road, right? You got to take care of what is working for you. But think about it. The same thing with a wife. You got we got our ribs out doing everything, right? They doing garments, they doing Sabbath meals and prepping for feet. They doing a lot. Plus they got to work. They got their households to develop and build and kids and this. But you got to pause there real quick. Pause. Let's go over here and have a conversation. Let's go catch a movie. Give her a break or just a quick, just a conversation to see where her head is at and maintain her mentality, her spirit. It's the same thing. But if you're not good at doing that with the first one, you ain't gonna do it with the second and the third. You're gonna have 3 broke down wives, 3 broke down trucks, right? Yeah. So The Most High won't even bless you with a second until you know how to maintain that first. You'll know it's a blessing because of the way it just slides. Right? The way it just slides right onto your internet. Truck for sale. Bang! You're like, oh, whoa, it's a good deal. Let's go look at it. And then a day later you get it. And everything goes smooth, you'll know. You know, but if you're trying to do it just to accumulate, you'll know also, because there'll be a struggle to get it, and then a struggle to maintain it. It doesn't matter what it is.
That's true.
You know, you can't have 8 houses if you never took care of one. All 8 will start to, through slothfulness, through lack of experience, they'll start to, like it says in the scriptures, the house starts to drop through. Right? Yeah. So, yes, sis. To answer your question, yes. I'll go back to Wisdom of Solomon. For this, verse 9, verse 10. For the air of jealousy heareth all things, and the noise of the murmurings is not hid. Therefore, be aware of murmuring, which is unprofitable. Just go back and read about the murmurers in Egypt. They died. And refrain your tongue from backbiting, for there is no word so secret that shall go for naught, and the mouth that belieth slayeth the soul. You can slay your own soul through your words, through your murmuring, through the backbiting.
I got a precept.
What you got?
It's cold.
Go ahead.
Ecclesiastes 10 and 20.
Ecclesiastes 10 and 20.
Yes, sir.
Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 20.
And this goes with what?
With the backbiting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Read.
Curse not the king. No, not in thy thoughts.
It said, no, not even in your thoughts.
Yeah.
Because why? Israelites got too much damn flavor. Why I say you got so much flavor? Because in your thoughts, you thinking one thing and you moving a certain way because of the way you thinking.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You ain't said nothing, but you're thinking it. And it's all coming out through your body language.
Nigga, you ain't Christ.
Well, you didn't say that, but that look on your face said it.
Yep.
It said, curse not the king, not even in your thoughts. Read.
And curse not the rich in thy bedchamber.
Go ahead.
For a bird of the air shall carry the voice.
So a bird of the air, a little birdie's gonna drop a dime on you.
Yep.
Your little murmuring. You thought you was sister, girl. Don't keep this between me and you.
Yep.
Brother, keep this between me and you. Nah. So,
It said in your bedchamber, right?
right, because who's there?
Pillow talking with your wife, right? Crapping on brothers, crapping on sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gonna be the spirit is gonna bring it out,
Come.
right? All that pillow talking, lie.
Mm-mm.
Where is that at?
Ecclesiastes 10:20.
Yeah, I like that. I was looking for that a while back. For that pillow talk.
Come. Read on.
And that which hath wings shall tell the matter.
It's gonna come out. It's gonna come out.
Yep, that's gonna fly into the ears of whoever gotta hear it. You talk about me, my ears is ringing. Remember that? My ears. Somebody must be talking about my ears is burning or whatever whatever saying it was.
Yeah.
Right? Verse 12. Seek not death in the error of your life, and pull not upon yourselves destruction with the works of your hands. For the Most High made not death, neither hath he pleasure in the destruction of the living. For he created all things that it may have their being, and the generations of the world were healthful. Healthful. We were healthy. We were healthy we were healthy all around, mentally, physically, spiritually. We were healthful. All we knew was good at one time, right? All the food we ate, there was no poison. It says it. and there was no poison of destruction in them, nor the kingdom of death upon the earth. That poison, right? Those poisonous thoughts, poisonous food, poisonous air, water. Physically we're poisoned, spiritually, mentally we're poisoned. Everything we put on, man, from the socks on your feet to the cap on your head is poison. You know, the one, I learned something the other day that everything you put on your body, when your pores open up, it filters into your kidneys. All that makeup that you put on your face, all those cosmetics, all the stuff you put in your hair, that weave, those carcinogens that go into your scalp, they go right into the bloodstream, right into your little old liver. People get all these different cancers and cysts and just different things. They don't know where it's coming from. But it's coming from the things that we put on and in our body. The water that you shower with, terrible. Get you a shower, bro, $30, $40, you can get you a shower head that filters your water. $30. And it actually, like I got the one for Pure Rim, I can't not get out the shower. That water drops down like rain, like it's so soft and just, you just want to sit in there and just waste water. $1,000 water bill. You know what I'm saying? Me and my rib, we like, man, this water just it's crazy. Shower head is just
pouring out a blessing.
Yeah, Most High is pouring out blessings in the shower, man. $30. $30, filter your water. Help clear up some of the poison that they're putting in the so-called filtered water. Even the filtered water that comes through the faucet, they said is filled with nothing but antibiotics. Yeah, it's poop water. But they say you can get high off that water if you drink enough of it. Why? Because the common practice was flush your old medications down the toilet.
Right.
They said, man,
don't try it. Don't try it.
Don't try what? Don't try to get high off the water? Well, that's why your body, when it comes to antibiotics, your body doesn't respond the same way. Because we're so used to having antibiotics in our system. That's why they're going to come with stronger antibiotics. So the animals you eat, like when you remember tilapia, who eats tilapia? Wow. Yeah, tilapia used to go down.
Used to.
That was the poor man's salmon.
Yeah.
Right? But then when you learn how they fed tilapia, they was having to hit them with antibiotics, and you learn that what? That made you, it desensitized you to the drug. So now when you need to go take antibiotics for something, toothache or something, it didn't work as well. You got to come with a stronger antibiotic. You know, it's things like that. All those poisons that they feed the animal, and then we consume it. These are the things that killed us. Those poisonous thoughts. That little grain of wickedness that grew into a tropical forest of wicked ideas. Those are the things that put us into a state of death. So Solomon is just going through it, man. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful book. That, you know, when we read this, there's going to be a lot in here. A lot of, going into idol worship and just the thoughts of man.
Yeah.
It's dope. Verse 15, for righteousness is immortal, but ungodly men with their works and their words. Works and words. Works and words. You speak it, then you do it. You think it, speak it, do it. When they thought to have it, their friend they consumed to naught, and made a covenant with it, because they were worthy to take part with it. It's talking about you made a covenant with death, man. You partook with sinful things and unrighteousness which brought death to us. Any questions on that? Any questions off on the readings before at all? No? Any questions online? Off the topic? On the topic? Class? Off the topic? On the topic? Now is the time. Remember, if you haven't already, please sign up for a garment, and you're you come to Passover, but you sign up for a garment, please get that money in so they can complete the garments. They are trying to work diligently, but guess what? You know why the sisters are here now? They're here in class. They shouldn't be. Because why? They ain't got nothing to do. They ran through everything that they could do thus far, but the garments aren't done yet, right? Right. It'd be nice if they had everything and they could knock it out, but now they got to sit back and wait on material because we have to order it when the money comes in. So please, get your money in for the garments. Another thing, I mentioned it earlier, I know them tax returns is hitting for a lot of people. Please, if you like to help out, it's the same thing every year. If you want to help out with the lamb, if you want to help out with the location, right? That's 10 G's alone. Let me be honest with you. It's $10,000 for lamb and location, right? Last year we spent about $500 on lamb. This year probably a little bit more because we got more brothers and sisters. The schools are growing, right? We got more people in Rochester. We got more people in VA. We got more people here, kids, right? All those different things. So we're looking at about, $5,000 for land. The location is $5,000. So if you want to give anything towards that from your taxes, you can definitely shoot that to the Wells Fargo or to the Zelle, CAT, however you want to do it. If that's something that you want to do, if you want to help out in that way, we haven't gotten any in a while, but books, Bibles, different things like that, those are still needed. Apocryphers. You see my apocrypher. It's holding on. I gotta put some tape on this thing. Yeah, it's holding on until the wheels fall off. I'm gonna wait for the pages to disintegrate. Can't get rid of this boy. This thing is 8 years old. Yeah, I've had this for 8 years.
This is my first page right here.
Yeah, his first page is in the back page. Right? It ain't like we need them for ourselves, but to show we ain't taking them for ourselves. We holding on to our stuff like it's gold, right?
Fine gold.
But we need them for the brothers and sisters that come through. We get people that come through. They need the books. We give it to them. We just say, hey, take it, right? Buy the truth and sell it not. So we give them the books, but then we need to replenish them. So again, however you want to help. We're still trying to get. I'm saying all these things now because we got like 30 people online. So we're still trying to get certain things for the school. Trim and baseboards, right? We want to try to replace some of these ceiling tiles, and just get the sanctuary beautified. We want to get new desks, right? Cass is looking like they in the 1940s with these desks. They're small. We got hefty brothers.
Robust.
We got robust brothers. They need better desks, right? So we want to get some desks. So again, whatever y'all want to help out with, just putting it out there. Just putting it out there. If you can't help out with Passover or things like that, and you want to show up, please do show up. Remember, we still gonna have Passover regardless. We're still gonna have lamb in a location. Whether anybody helps or not, we're still going to do what the Bible says, right? Don't feel bad or any type of way if you're in a financial situation where you can't help. Still show up. We try to make sure that we provision a location and enough food for everybody, for people that might just show up out of nowhere. Sometimes we get the phone call a day before, like, I'm gonna be at Passover, and it's like, damn, okay, well, guess what? We'll have a seat for you, right? And we make it happen. So don't feel like, oh, well, I ain't got nothing, I ain't got no money to give or whatever the case may be. I ain't gonna show up. Show up. Show up. All right. So nobody got nothing.
I do.
Okay.
Especially two of them. It's Leviticus 17:11 and Hebrews 10:4. First, I'm going to go to Leviticus 17:11.
So Hebrews 17 and verse 11. Leviticus 17:11. Okay.
Leviticus 17:11, and it says, "For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make an atonement
Right.
for your souls.
Right.
For it is the blood that make an atonement for your soul." But when you read Hebrews 10:4, because I was on that, let me go up. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 4 says, "For it is not possible that the blood of bulls and goats should take away your sins." So, are these contrary? One is going one way and the one's going the other way.
Nah, they're saying two different things. So, Leviticus what?
Leviticus 17 and 11.
Right, Leviticus 17:11. Read that one more time.
Leviticus chapter 17, verse 11.
Right.
For the life of the flesh is in the blood.
Right. So when you read, first of all, he's telling us about eating blood. You read verse 10.
Right.
Right. The life of the flesh is in the blood. You know what that animal went through, what that animal dealt with. We talked about that last week,
Yes,
right?
we did. Yes.
So you wouldn't eat the blood, right? You wouldn't eat the blood because the blood served a purpose. The blood, like we sprinkled it on the altar, right? He sprinkled it on Aaron's garments.
Right.
He sprinkled it, he put it on his ear, his finger, his toe. What did it signify?
That he was cleansed from head to toe. We were talking about.
Right. It signified a